And we are live. I am BMI 3000 Reloaded, also known as the Mad Professor. What's going on, my brothers? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's happening? It's Friday night. It is Friday night. And this is Friday Night Live. Peace to you. Peace to all you brothers in the chat. Peace to all you brothers in the chat. Let me just say to you guys that what I'm doing this evening is brand new. I have not done this before, so here's for first. But to make sure that everything is going well, I just need you guys, if you guys can hear me, man, just put one in the chat, one in the chat, one in the chat. If you can hear me, loud and clear, if you can see my screen, put one in the chat. One in the chat, one in the chat. If you can see the screen, put two in the chat. One if you can hear me, two if you can see the screen. One if you can hear me, two if you can see the screen. I'm using my slides. I'm using slides. Well, actually, I'm using a video from YouTube. If you can see the video from YouTube, you should see Andrew Gillum. Do you see Andrew Gillum? You can see Andrew Gillum. All right, that's good. 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 What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's going on? What's going on, man? We're gonna talk tonight, guys. We're gonna talk tonight. We got to break this thing down. I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna do my best to do this as thoroughly as possible. And I'm gonna tell you guys. This video, and we might not go through this whole video right here from the Native Land podcast. And one reason why I'm not going to go through the entire video is because this video, I'm going to be honest with you, man, this thing was very hard for me to watch. It was hard for me to watch. What's going on, Toxic Masculinist? Good to see you. Grab 2 gear. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Ab Media's in the house. Good to see you. 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 Yeah, Corey McPherson is in the house. Yeah, man. This video, Jutland Group. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, man? What's going on? What's going on, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. This video was hard to watch and listen to. I'm going to tell you honestly, man, it's hard to listen to Angela Rye. It is hard listening to Angela Rye for so many reasons. Oh my God! When you talk about plantation feminism, and that's what I'm going to call it, plantation feminism. It's very, very hard listening to plantation feminism. Glad that you're here, Jocelyn, for the first time. That old plantation feminist, and that's what we have to deal with, man. We have to deal with. D-Live is in the house. Peace to you, man. Peace to D-Live. That plantation feminist, which is overrepresented in the Democratic Party right at this particular time. Plantation feminism, which is the main reason why men are jumping ship. Men of all backgrounds. Matua, what's going on, man? Good to see you, man. Good to see you, man. Glad that you're here. Glad that you're here, man. Glad that you're here, man. Andre Muhammad. Yeah, plantation feminism is the reason. It is the reason why men are jumping ship. Men from all backgrounds. Black men are jumping ship. Latino men are jumping ship. South Asian men are jumping ship. Hell, even some gay men are jumping ship. All kinds of men, they are jumping ship, my brother. They don't want it. They're tired of hearing these preachy plantation feminists. And Angela Rye, she is a hardcore plantation feminist. Yeah. And she's on this podcast, representing the plantation view and the belief that black people and black men in particular have no other place to be other than the plantation, where these plantation feminists serve as overseers. Yeah, man. You know, it's one thing to have a white man to be your overseer, to be the master and all that kind of stuff. But it's another thing altogether, man, when you have a female overseer, a female overseer. Yeah, or even a black male overseer for that matter. Yeah, y'all get the likes up, get the likes up. Chaos Rain, what's happening, man? Chaos Rain, good to see you, good to see you, man. Get them likes up, get them likes up. So there's Angela Rye, who's very difficult to listen to. And then there is Tiffany Cross, who is equally difficult listening to. Yeah, but her version of plantation feminism is similar to Angela Rye's, but she puts her own twist on it. She's a very hyperbolic, she's a very demagogic plantation feminism. Plantation feminist, that is. Yeah, she's like Joy Reid. That's Tiffany Cross. Tiffany Cross is very much in the same ilk as a Joy Reid. What's happening, Big Mo, man? Good to see you, man. Good to see you, man. Yeah, happy Friday, Azrael, first of his name. Yeah, she is a demagogue. And what is a demagogue? A demagogue is somebody who is just, she is just driven by rhetoric. No profound thought. Just rhetoric. No perspectives, no ideas. You know, they call them demagogues because what demagogues like to do is they like to demonize people. They like to demonize particular groups. And she had this show on MSNBC called The Cross Report, and she spent all of her time on that show on Saturdays when it was on, before Rashida Jones did not renew her contract. She spent a whole lot of time on Saturday afternoons demonizing huge swaths of the American population. And black men were often a part of her demonization. And she is supposed to be a journalist, kind of like Joy Reid. These people are supposed to be journalists. We don't know what a journalist is nowadays. Yeah, we don't know exactly what a journalist is. What you see on CNN and MSNBC, and everything that they put out in terms of politics, that's not journalism. That's ideology. That's propaganda. A long time ago, we had journalism. We had pretty good journalism, and that includes liberal journalists. Liberal journalism back in the 80s and in the 90s. Hell, I can go way back to the godfather of American journalism, Walter Cronkite. And back in those days, ABC, CBS, NBC, they all had a liberal slant. But they were critical. They were critical of everybody. Yeah, they were critical of everybody. They were critical of Republican politicians and Democratic politicians. They worked hard at exercising some type of fairness and some type of neutrality. At the end of the day, it was basically a liberal perspective, but it was much better. It was much better in terms of information that you got. One of my favorite all-time journalists was the late Ed Bradley. Some of you guys might remember the late Ed Bradley. The late Ed Bradley was on 60 Minutes for many decades. a black man, a black American man, and Ed Bradley was one of the best journalists that this country had ever produced. You got both sides. Ed Bradley would sit down with anybody. Ed Bradley would sit down with the KKK. Ed Bradley would sit down with a president or with a Bill Clinton, or sit down with a John Kerry. He would sit down with anybody. Sit down with Republican politicians, Democratic politicians. Sit down to people on the extreme of the left, and talk to people on the extreme of the right. And Ed Bradley was always about getting information, and asking very, very tough questions. Very, very, very tough questions. So those days are gone, man. Those days are gone. All you have on CNN and MSNBC is just propaganda, ideology, entertainment, all of that, So we don't know. People who watch that stuff, and a lot of people don't watch that stuff, they don't know what real journalism is. And brothers, I would be remiss if I didn't. Philip Reading, man, good to see you, man. Good to see you. Good to see you. That's who I am. I'm in the house, man. I'd be remiss if I didn't say anything about Fox News. Fox News. Now, Fox News has always been a little bit different. Fox News came out the gate, many, many decades ago, and and you knew exactly where they stood. Fox News came out many, many decades ago to correct the underrepresentation of media from a conservative perspective, and because they always talked about liberal bias, even back in the early '90s when they first came on the scene, But to Fox News's credit, to their credit, Fox News does a better job at handling information. Although they do it from a conservative perspective, they do a better job at dealing with facts, because conservatives, regardless of what you think about conservatives in the media, the conservatives are very, very, very obsessed with facts. Facts. Detro 0861, what's going on, man? Good to see you, man. Jig Joint 523. Jordan, what's going on, man? Shout out to you, man, from the great state of Florida, my home state, man. I'm happy that you're here, brother. Good to see you, man, from Palm Bay. Shout out to Palm Bay, man, and all my Floridians. Yeah, all my South Floridians, all my West Floridians, all my East Floridians, all my North Floridians, man. Shout out to all of you guys in the house. So yeah, you're not gonna get that unbiased perspective. I would even say that Bill O'Reilly. I'll give you an example. Man. I'll give you an example of a journalist who was on Fox News, and he has his own platform now. Bill O'Reilly, he dominated. Bill O'Reilly dominated the news when he was on TV. Dominated the news. Dominated commentary with his talking points memo. And I would watch Bill O'Reilly as somebody who, was not identified with political conservatism. And he Bill O'Reilly his moniker was the no spin zone. This is the no spin zone. Okay. And Bill O'Reilly would talk to liberals. A lot of people that came on his show were liberals. Okay. They were on the left. They were not conservatives. And Bill O'Reilly, he would talk to everybody. Now, of course, Bill O'Reilly is not a full-blown Democrat or what have you. But Bill O'Reilly, I have to give him credit. He did much better until his fall, until his downfall in the early days of Trump. He did a much better job than what you see on mainstream media right now. You understand? And I still watch Bill O'Reilly. I watch your show right now. You know, this guy, he's a Bill O'Reilly deals with the facts. He deals with the facts. And it is what it is. It is what it is. I mean, like I said, guys, I'm an independent. I'm a political independent. I'm an intellectual independent. I am ideologically, independent and what have you. But if you call it straight down the middle, hey, kudos to you, man. So yeah, these people are hard to listen to, man. Yeah, Tiffany Cross, hard to listen to. It's obvious to me that she doesn't read a whole lot of books. She does not read a whole lot of books. Revelator, spirit of the different indifference, man. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you, man. Tiffany Cross does not read a lot of books. Her range is very, very limited. She's a personality person. She's a demagogue. She's a personality person. Um, uh, she's more amenable to the world of entertainment and I would say kind of even gossip and stuff like that than she is to kind of the world of politics. You know, um, I will say Angela Rye. She tends to, she sticks to the political script and everything, and she's a DNC child. She was born and raised in that DNC, and her family is a part of it, and so she's a lawyer, by training, and so she does stick to the script in terms of the architecture of the stuff that she believes in as a Democrat. But Tiffany Cross, not so much. Nah, you got your boy Andrew Gillum. Y'all see your boy right here, man. Y'all see your boy Andrew Gillum. Oh my God, Andrew Gillum, former mayor. He's a Florida boy too. He's a Florida boy too, man. Andrew Gillum from Tallahassee, Florida. Tallahassee, if you don't know it, Tallahassee is the capital of the state. It is the capital of the state of Florida. The major county there is Leon. You've got Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University that is there. That great HBCU, also known as FAMU, and Gillum happens to be he's a graduate of FAMU, and then not too far from FAMU, you've got Florida State University. Florida State, you got the Seminoles that are there, and right there in Leon County, right there on the border, on the Florida-Georgia border. Y'all know that, the Florida-Georgia border, man. Oh man, I tell you, man, I grew up traveling up and down the state of Florida, and I grew up crossing that border, man, crossing that border, leaving Florida, leaving Tallahassee, going into South Georgia, going into Pelham, and driving on I-75. And I remember I used to make long trips from Dade County to Tallahassee, all the way through Valdosta, Georgia, straight to the great city of Atlanta, where I once lived many, 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 many moons ago. And you guys already know I'm a Florida, Georgia boy. Actually, I'm a Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina boy. What's going on? But Andrew Gillum, man. Andrew Gillum, who ran against Ron DeSantis. He ran against Ron DeSantis back in 2018, around the same time that Stacey Abrams ran against Brian Kemp in Georgia. And Andrew Gillum put up a nice fight. He was the mayor for a long time there, and people were people were looking at him and they were saying that he, he had the makings of, the next coming, Barack Obama 2.0. Barack Obama 2.0. That's how they were looking at Andrew Gillum when he was running against DeSantis back in 2018, with his wife, and his kids. And he just, he seemed like he was kind of like who Wes Moore is now, the governor of Maryland and everything. The guy clean cut. Seemingly, it looked like the white people liked him and everything, and the white people were supporting him and all of that. But they didn't like him enough to make him governor of the state of Florida. They did not like him enough to put him in the governor's office, and so they put Ronnie DeSantis in the governor's mansion in Florida. And we've seen what Ron DeSantis has done in the state of Florida. But here it comes, the second coming of Obama. The second coming of Obama was completely upended as a politician. He was completely disgraced as the second coming when he got caught up. My man got up. He got caught up. Man, I tell you, when you saw Andrew Gillum in those pictures with his wife, and he has a very attractive wife. I'm gonna say that his wife is not a bad looking woman. He got a good looking wife, man. Man, he got a good looking wife, man. Black in the Middle, what's going on? Shout out to Charleston. Shout out to Charleston, South Carolina. Shout out to Chucktown, and shout out to Orangeburg. Shout out to Columbia. Shout out to Greenville. Yeah. Shout out to Bamberg. That's it. Shout out to the entire I-95 corridor. That's right. Shout out to Beaufort, South Carolina. Yeah. But Andrew Gillum, oh my God, he looks like such a family man, didn't he? He looks like such a doggone family man. But come to find out, Andrew Gillum was leading a double life. My God, oh my God. Andrew Gillum was leading one of those double lives that you see now in Tyler Perry movies. Tyler Perry has a way of talking about guys like Andrew Gillum. Tyler Perry loves talking about those men with double lives, doesn't he? In fact, Tyler Perry has an obsession with double life black men. Yeah. And part of that obsession is that he thinks that a whole bunch of us are out here living a double life. Yeah, the Geechees are in the building. Yeah, but he was down there in Miami. He was down there on South Beach. He was down there on South Beach with the rainbows, hanging out with the rainbows. The white rainbows. You see, I want y'all to think about this. And I want you to think about this in terms of all of these people who I'm talking about right now. There is one thing, my brother. There is one thing that all of these people have in common. There was one thing that Angela Rye, Tiffany Cross, and Andrew Gillum have in common. And what is the one thing that all of these people have in common? Each of these individuals at one time or another in their career were betrayed, were thrown away, were discarded by the Democratic Party and the organs related to the Democratic Party. Each of these individuals that are part of this native land broadcast represent the kind of disposability that exists with respect to Black people in that Democratic Party. Angela Rye was disposed by CNN. Tiffany Cross was disposed by MSNBC, and both CNN and MSNBC are organs of the Democratic Party. And Andrew Gillum hanging out with the rainbows. You know the rainbows are deep. They are deeply embedded in the Democratic Party. The rainbows are so deeply embedded in the Democratic Party that it shapes the doggone entire agenda. It shapes the entire vision. It shapes darn near everything that the Democratic Party does at this time. The rainbows, they control the Democratic Party. And he went down there to Miami. He was down there in South Beach, and you know all kind of stuff happened on South Beach, man. You know, I know about South Beach, brothers. I know about South Beach intimately. I know about South Beach, man. When I was a teenager, I lived on South Beach with my mother. I'm talking about back in the 1980s, man. Those were the days of the Miami Hurricanes. Those were the days of the 2 Live Crew. Back in those days, Miami, Florida was off the chain. Miami, Florida was an outlaw city. Our cousin was New York City. Yeah, Miami, Florida, South Florida, Miami, and New York City, with all of its boroughs, we were cousins. And Miami had a rainbow culture back then. Yes, they did. But this man found himself hanging out with the rainbow white boys, doing his thing, doing stuff that, you know, we typically don't associate with public figures until they are exposed. Out there sniffing it up, snorting it up. And he found himself in a compromising position. Mr. Lavo, man, thank you for that super chat, man. Y'all get the likes up. Man. It's Friday night. It is April the 4th, 2025. My clock says it's 7:47 Eastern Standard Time. We're gonna get into the show once these preliminaries are over with. But here's the point. Let me just get down to it. Andrew Gillum was humiliated by gay white men. Gay white men put him through a humiliation ceremony. They humiliated him. Took pictures of him, took cell phone videos of him, no telling all the things that they did to this man before they put everything on tape. Did everything other than make an X videotape with this brother. Everything. And that would have been, oh my God, that I think if they had recorded what he was doing with those guys and they put that thing on the internet, I suspect that Andrew Gillum might not be here today. I suspect that he would not be here today, man. Thank you, Mr. Lavo, man. Mr. Lavo says, great video on Torre. Keep blessing us. I will continue to do that, man. Seems like the PMC is infatuated with the safe black men. Yes, they are, man. Who taught you? They are. He was completely humiliated by that branch of the Democratic Party that is always in our faces. Always in our faces. He was humiliated. And what does this mean? This means that you can't trust these people. You can't trust this DNC. You can't trust them. You just can't trust them. When you look at what happened to Angela Rye, because she used to be a fixture. She used to be a fixture on CNN. She used to be a fixture on CNN. She used to be on CNN, doing the DNC dance, and she would cry and carry on, and she would put on a performance, every time she had an opportunity. And then one day you looked up and CNN had discontinued that contract. They discontinued her contract. She got into it with Chris Cuomo. Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that Angela Rye had a run-in with Chris Cuomo, and she had a Me Too thing. She had a so-called Me Too episode with Chris Cuomo. And it wasn't long before CNN got rid of her and Chris Cuomo. They got rid of both of them. And now she does occasional appearances on CNN. Yeah, she does occasional appearances. Now she's a bona fide side chick. She's a CNN side chick. That's what she is, a CNN side chick. And then you have Tiffany Cross. She never really bounced back. This native land podcast is her, I guess, her way of coming back. But once the powers that be got tired of her, she had it wasn't too many places where she can go. There weren't too many places. She wasn't showing up on mainstream. It was like, well, what happened? What happened to her? I thought she was gonna show up on YouTube. I thought she was gonna show up somewhere on YouTube. Didn't show up anymore on YouTube. That's it. What's going on, Dr. D? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. 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 Good to see you, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate the subscription. Get the likes up, man. Y'all get those likes up. Get those likes up. Get those likes up. Get those likes up. But all of these people have been rejected at one level or another by the powerful organs related to the Democratic Party. Rejected. Andrew Gillum no longer has a political career. He has been completely delegitimized as a political figure, and that brother ain't coming back. He ain't coming back. What's going on, Phoenix Rising? Yeah, they had them kind of fights, man. He is not coming back. He's not coming back at all. What's going on, Golden Child? What's going on, man? Good to see you, man. It was bad judgment. It was bad judgment. And see, here's the thing. There's this perception with these DNC people. They always talk about allies. They always talk about the alliances that they have amongst each other. You have the Billy Porter types. You got the Billy Porter types. These guys who like to dress up and drag. MSNBC has a black man right now who likes to dress up and drag. He was the guy who was working now to fill in the space that was made open when they got rid of Joy Reid. Thank you, Golden Child, for that, man. Good to see you. Jamal around the world, good to see you. Good to see you, man. Glad that you're here. Glad that you're here. Yeah, you have these fake coalitions, the rainbow people. They want us to believe that the rainbow people are not racist, that the rainbow people are not, they are not misandrous, that the rainbow people are just full of virtue and goodness. Love is love, love is love, love is love. Brother Jamal around the world, man, good to see you, man. Good to see you, good to see you. Love is love. That's what they tell us. Love is love. Love is we are the world. That's what they tell us. That is it. That is it. Jason Epps, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Good to see you, man. Peace to you. Peace to you. Peace to you. Yes, she is. She's another weirdo. Yeah, she's another plantation feminist weirdo. So you have these people who are rejects. I want y'all to get this. You have these people who are rejects. They are DNC, Democratic National Committee rejects, who despite their experiences in that world, despite their experiences in that world, these people still have this they still have this uncritical loyalty to this enterprise known as the Democratic Party. They still have this loyalty to this enterprise. You're going to get some of that here. There's still loyalty there. Treat it as disposable black people, and their disposability at any level compels them to rethink their relationship. And here they are in this stream right here. Here they are talking about black men. This is about black men, and it's about a particular set of black men. They're talking about us, those of us who are in this space right here, the 20%. The 20%. They are talking about the 20%, and that's who we are. That's who we are. If you are a black man who sat on the couch, if you are a black man who voted third party, if you are a black man who voted for the orange man, you are among the 20%. You are among the 20%. You are among the 20%. And it's mind-boggling. And what they're trying to do in this stream right here, they're trying to solve a puzzle. They're trying to solve a riddle. We are messing their minds up. We are messing their minds up. We are messing their minds up. And they just don't get it, as you'll see right here. Now, let me just before I get into the video. What's going on, Dwayne? Dwayne Dinger, good to see you, man. Dwayne Dinger in the house, man. Thank you for that super chat, man. Good evening to you. Thank you for that super chat, man. Y'all get the likes up, man. Get them likes up. Get them likes up. Get them likes up. Get them likes up. Get them likes up, man. Get them likes up. We got 90 people watching. We got 91 people. We got 96 people here. We got people watching in the house. In the house. Now, they have this podcast. It's called the Native Land Podcast. And you can call it the Reject Podcast. The Reject Podcast. Because what happened is that you have this company, the company that sponsors them, the company that funds them is the same company that sponsors and funds the Breakfast Club, iHeartRadio. iHeartRadio is the corporate entity that sponsors this Native Land Podcast. It's most popularly known as the home of Charlemagne the God and DJ Envy and the other guests and everything like that. And I want y'all to keep the Breakfast Club in mind as we go through this right here, man. But iHeart decided to take all these three people who have been rejected, all these people who have been disposed by DNC corporations, and bring them together and try to make something happen. This podcast was launched before the election, several months before the election. I remember when it was launched. In all honesty, I didn't think that anybody would watch it or listen to it. When I looked at the commentators, when you see this team right here, I'm like, man, who's gonna watch this? I mean, maybe 5, 10 people or whatever. Who's gonna watch this? Who's gonna watch Andrew Gillum? I mean, who wants to listen to this brother? He's just coming out the woodwork, and this is actually his reintroduction to the public. So they had him, and Tiffany Cross. She had been discarded by MSNBC, and this is her second chance, her second life, and I don't mind second chances. This, second chances and second lives are very, 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 very positive. You know what I mean? And you had Angela Rye. So I'll be honest with you guys. I questioned whether this would take off. I really did. And I'm saying because basically when they were out there in 2024, it was just Kamala propaganda. Everything was Kamala propaganda. Kamala. That's what they talked about. Just Kamala. And and they were demonizing black men who were raising questions about her You know, the whole routine, you know, misogyny, sexism, blah, 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 plantation feminism. And so I didn't think that this thing would take off, and I didn't think it would last. As a matter of fact, I thought that after the election, they'd probably go off the air since she lost, since Kamala lost. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, you're gonna talk about, you know, her loss for another 4 years or what have you. Um, but lo and behold, they're still here, you know, and they've got about 100,000 followers and what have you. And this is a part of their recent streams, and they've been doing recent streams on black men, black men, black men, black men, black men. Why black men are moving away? Why we are running away? Why we are running away from these plantation feminists? Yeah, we are running away from the plantation feminists, and they just don't understand why, and they think that we are working against our own interests, and that we need to come to Jesus, and we need to sit under their feet, and we need their tutelage, and we need their insight and their guidance, because you know, black men are children, and black men as children need to be led by the feminist plantation, and the plantation feminists who are female, and the plantation feminists who are male as well. Thank you again for that contribution, brother. We got Machismo TV in the house. What's going on? Machismo TV is in the house. We appreciate you, man. We appreciate you, my brother. Yeah, y'all check out Machismo TV, man. Yeah, check out Machismo TV. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, we are the black men. We make miracles. We make miracles. What's going on? What's going on? But anyway, I'm going to get into this this here podcast, and they're talking about, so they have these two guys, these two black guys that they've invited on their podcast, and one of these guys is a professional Democratic pollster. He's a Morehouse graduate. This guy is a Morehouse graduate. His name is Tony Woodbury, and he belongs to an organization called Hit Strategies, and they do surveys, they gather statistics and all that kind of stuff from voters. And so what he's going to talk about here in this podcast, he's going to present some data about black voters right now, you know, post-election and everything like that. And he's going to say some things based on the data that's going to stir some of these people up. And then the other guy they have here is a black guy. His name is Gary Chambers. And Gary Chambers is a guy who is he's a politician. He's never won a political seat, but he's a guy who's just, you know, he's played the political game. He's kind of like Gillum. He's ran for office, but has never won office out of the state of Louisiana. But at any rate, I'm going to play this. I'm going to play this, and we're going to talk about this right here. All right.
About it all the time. Terrence, we want to do one of your polls. Gary Chambers Jr. is also joining us. He is founder of Bigger Than Me. He is the champion in the South. Let me tell you, if there's one person that's going to flip a state black, I didn't say red or blue, he's going to flip it black. It is going to be Gary Chambers. Whenever he joins us on camera, Gary, your camera is off. And get off he is not a ghost of Christmas.
Fair use. I got to say that, man. I got to say that. Fair use. Fair use. Fair use. Fair use. Let me put this in the chat, man. I got to put this just in case. I don't want to get in no trouble. Let me just do this right here. We're going to do this right here. Y'all bear with me, brothers. Y'all bear with me. Y'all bear with me. Fair use. fair use. Let's put this thing down here. I'm going to put this thing down here. Fair use. Let's do it. I got the what my exclamation points right here. All right, brothers, man. I'm happy that all you guys here are here tonight, and I'm not going to have you out here too long because I know that you guys have other things to do. Other things to do. But let me just put this in here, so that I don't get no copyright strikes. Fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use.
Miss Pass, he is actually here in the building, y'all. And when he there he
in
is.
his building. He in his building.
He's in our virtual home, and that's why we say welcome home, Andrew Gillum. But yes, Gary Chambers Jr., and he's going to talk to us too a little bit about the election coming up this Saturday.
And had an amazing ad, Angela. That amazing ad that we played.
Yes.
On this podcast, and so we won't revisit it. We will tell you.
Put 3 in the chat if you can hear the video, man. Put 3 in the chat if you can hear the video. Let me know if you can hear the video. Put 3 in the chat if you can hear
to go back and look at that clip.
Do we remember when that was? I don't even remember.
We were in New York because we had a nice salute to you.
Hey guys, I just want to point out that we told them that they were going to start with us about 30 minutes ago. So let's jump into the conversation.
Sorry, you guys.
Welcome home, Terrence and Gary. I think Gary's
Thanks for having me, fam. It's good to be here on Native Land Pod.
I see you representing Mo House.
Always, all day.
Mo House.
Happy to have you guys.
Day.
Let's get right into it. Who should we start with? Terrence, I think
with this data.
Yes.
Listen, thank y'all so much for having me. His strategies has been, folks, for the past couple of weeks since the election to understand what happened, why it happened, how we fix it moving forward. And one of the first things we see here is despite the valiant efforts of the Harris campaign, I was on the Harris campaign for full transparency, despite the efforts of the Harris campaign, who was able to close some of the gaps that we saw when Biden was at the top of the ticket. She, in fact, closed a 22-point gap amongst young voters, an 18-point gap amongst Black voters. Despite those efforts, Democrats continue to underperform with all the groups that we consider our base voters. So we got 3% less votes overall, but that includes 6% less votes from young people, 5% less from young Black voters, 19 points less amongst Latino voters, 19 points, and 2% less amongst Black men. Shout out to Black men who tried to hold the line and who had the smallest reduction across any other group of men. But I do want to talk about that 2% real quick, because while Joe Biden got 79% of Black men's votes and Kamala Harris got 77%, the concern for me is the trend over time, y'all. It's that over time we've seen 3 to 5 point less Black support amongst Black men until Barack Obama had 92%, Hillary Clinton had 82%, and Kamala Harris had 77%. And so I've been arguing that, just calling it sexism is kind of lazy analysis of what's happening. This has been ongoing over time, and Democrats got some work to do to bring these brothers, not just Black men, but men, bringing men back into the Democratic coalition.
Wow.
So I hope y'all got that right there, brother. I hope you got that. So Black males, Black men voters, our numbers have been falling ever since Obama. Ever since Obama, they've been falling. They fell with Clinton, Hillary Clinton. They fell. So Obama had 92% back in the day. Hillary Clinton had 82. Biden had 79. And Harris had 77. So the numbers tell a story. A very, very good story for all of us, guys. And that is that the shift is real. This is a good shift. And look at Tiffany's face. Look at her face. She is perplexed. She is perplexed by the shift. Okay, these numbers, with each election cycle, they continue to plummet. Support for the Democratic Party continues to fall with each, that is, support on the part of Black men continues to fall with each election cycle. Fair use, fair use, fair use.
I think that that's so powerful. I know we can probably go to the next slide, but I think it's powerful to hear. One, we were all together recently, and there was a very heated conversation around whether or not it was sexism. Sure, sexism is at play, but you saw this consistent drop off from Clinton to Joe Biden, and that was at one of the higher turnout years. Joe Biden's year was actually an outlier, right? From what we know, the numbers were much higher. What do you think is the reason, Terrence, based on what you've heard, if it's not sexism, regardless of how we might feel about the numbers, with what the numbers say?
Yeah, look, there are several factors contributing to underperformance of men, but overwhelmingly, men are starting to identify the Republican Party as representing their values, representing the things that they care about. I don't want to negate sexism. In fact, the slide that's up here now has a very important question. I think starts to explain where the Black community is on issues of gender and gender roles. When we ask the question, do you agree or disagree that men should be head of household, 66% of Black people believe that men should be head of household, including 59% of Black women, that's the majority, and 75% of Black men. I would argue that believing that men should be head of household is not a sexist value, right? It's a traditionally religious value. And it's one where we have to bring men along this conversation to explain that the role of gender in society is evolving, and there's a place for them in it. When Barack Obama was running for president and racism had the potential to undermine his candidacy, he didn't wag his finger at white folks and say, shame on you, right? He had a conversation with America about how we're not red states and blue states, we're not Black states and white states. And how even his grandmother, his white Hawaiian grandmother, held unconscious bias. And he offered an opportunity for America to move beyond that bias. Well, we didn't offer that to Black men. We said, either you're with us or you're bad, either you're with us or you're wrong, either you're with us or you're immoral. You know, we're telling them that their Bible is wrong. And so there's another way here to bring men, not just Black men, but to bring men along this journey as society is evolving, and to ensure that they know that it's not all masculinity is toxic and there's going to be a place for them in it, but we're going to have to define what that non-toxic masculinity is.
I was about to say, Terrence, some of this is...
You look at this. Did you hear this? Did you hear this, guys? They're sitting up here talking about sexism. Sexism, the patriarchy, gender. This gender canard. This is a gender canard. And this is one of the problems. And this is why these people don't understand Black men. They think that Black men had some issue. The vast majority of Black men who did not go for Harris, the vast majority of Black men who did not vote, the vast majority of men who went, you know, third party, they went for the orange man. They are wrong in their calculus, in their assessment when it comes down to so-called the patriarchy. Why did Kamala Harris lose? Kamala Harris lost not because she is a woman. Kamala Harris lost because she was a candidate who sucks. That's why she lost. She was a candidate who sucks. Okay? That's why she lost. All right? Why? Why did Hillary Clinton lose? Why did Hillary Clinton, why didn't she get the same numbers that Obama got when she ran? Because she also, like Harris, was a candidate who sucks. That's it. They suck. It has nothing to do with a vagina. It has nothing to do with the patriarchy. It has nothing to do with men wanting to be heads of households. And this is the thing that these people continue to push. They continue to push this thing, man. They really believe that it's the quote unquote patriarchy. The numbers, Joe Biden had low numbers. Okay, he had low numbers. You know, lower. You know, he had lower numbers than Clinton. Joe Biden gets 79. He got 79. Hillary Clinton got 82. What can you use gender? Can you use gender and sexism to explain that? Can you talk about black men wanting to be the heads of household and all this kind of stuff and toxic masculinity to explain the fact that Hillary Clinton had greater numbers in terms of black male voters than Joe Biden? You see, this is the problem right here. This is the problem. After Obama, you had a sucky candidate, a candidate who was not exciting, a candidate who could not win, Hillary Clinton. And after Hillary Clinton, you got Joe Biden, and Joe Biden got lucky. And that's the main reason Joe Biden won, because he got lucky. He got lucky. Were it not for COVID, were it not for the pandemic, Joe Biden would have lost that election, and Donald Trump would have served a successive term, a second term in office. Okay? And they sat in that White House. They had the White House for 4 years, and then you're going to give us Kamala. And because people were not excited about her, enough people were not as excited about her as Obama, they want to attribute it to the so-called patriarchy. And see, brothers, this is the problem right here. This is the problem in terms of their faulty, whack, weak, limited analysis. Let's get back to the video. Fair use, fair use, fair use.
I hate if this is a minor point, but you know, yeah, okay, we were raised to believe that men should be at the head of the household. I wonder what it means functionally, because I think I grew up with that belief as well. I just don't know how it plays out, right? Like, who writing the checks? Who's turning the head when it needs to be? Those sorts of things are, I would just say this about that statement of, do you believe that men should be head of that? I think many of us cop to that, believe in it, subscribe to it, mostly, as you pointed out, through a religious premise. And if we had to write functionally down, what does it mean to have men as head of the household? I think everybody's list is going to look different.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm glad that probably isn't the question that you asked. But I also think that your point around the rise in men choosing Republican or the Republican Party as home or reflective, I kind of think it's the party you can be a member of and not be judged and not be held accountable, exactly right. That you can say what it is that you think in your innermost moments and nobody's going to cancel you, that it's safe because the stakes appear to be not as high with what you do or don't do.
Now, I want y'all to listen to this crap. I'm going to back this thing up again. I want you to hear what he says right here about black men in the Republican Party and why black men increasingly are running away from these anti-male, anti-black male Democrats and going somewhere else. And I want you to hear how he frames it again.
We said either you're with us or you're bad. Either you're with us or you're wrong. Exactly right.
That you can say what it is that you think in your innermost moments and know what this whole. I think everybody's list is going to look different.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm glad that probably isn't the question that you asked. But I also think that your point around the rise in men choosing Republican or the Republican Party as home or reflective, I kind of think it's the party you can be a member of and not be judged and not be held accountable.
Exactly right.
Exactly. That's it. Not be held, not judged. That's right. Not judged. Who wants to listen to this plantation feminist rhetoric coming from this party? Who wants to be told that you're evil? Who wants to be told that you're toxic, that you're a misogynist, that you hate women? Who wants to be told this incessantly, over and over and over and over again? Who wants to be in this party where all this rhetoric is coming from these feminists and coming from these LGBTQ people, and it is supported by the men that are over there, the ones who are gay and the ones who are not gay, and they want to beat you over the head over and over again. But I want you to listen. Andrew Gillum says something about accountability, like, you know, we need to be scolded, and we need to be reprimanded. We need to be told that there's something wrong with us. Listen to this nonsense.
That you can say what it is that you think in your innermost moments, and nobody's going to cancel you. That it's safe because the stakes appear to be not as high with what you do or don't do.
So these people, they want to be able to they want to be able to say that black men, you ain't crap. They want to maintain this. Shout out to Keep 100, man. Good to see you, man. Keep 100. Good to see you, man. Keep 100. Good to see you, man. CG, you're absolutely right. They didn't run Sanders. They didn't run any of those guys. They want to be able to be in the position to beat you over the head, okay, with this patriarchy stuff. They want to be able to wag their fingers at you whenever they want to. They want to be able to talk to black men the way in which Michelle Obama talked to black men when she was at the DNC and when she was at those other events promoting Kamala Harris. I don't know if you guys have seen any of those other events, but Michelle Obama, she took the liberty to really spew a whole bunch of plantation feminist nonsense when she was stomping for Kamala Harris. A whole bunch of stuff. It was the misandrous in Michelle Obama was off the charts. She was talking about abortion, and she was talking about how men are supposed to, that men have an obligation to listen to women, that men have an obligation to fight for abortion, that men have an obligation to be panderers and to just bend over and to just placate, to do everything that these women demand. That's Michelle Obama. And she said that we have a right to make these demands. We have a right to demand A, B, C, D, E, F, G from you. Who wants to subject himself to that crap? Who wants to listen to lectures by Michelle Obama? Who wants to be lectured to by these feminists and these LGBT people who talk about homophobia all the time? Who wants to be lectured? And who wants to be tone policed and told how to talk and told how to walk and told what you need to be thinking and how to think and what to think and all that kind of stuff? Who needs this stuff? You understand? You know, nobody wants that kind of stuff, but they want to be in the position, and they feel entitled to this. They feel entitled to scolding, castigating, and demonizing black men. They feel entitled to it. Fair use, fair use.
No, I mean, I think that's exactly right. You know, masculinity has become so triggering on the left. I mean, I've had this conversation in groups of progressives who've asked me, well, what is a non-toxic version of masculinity? Mm-hmm. You know, as if they don't know non-toxic men, as if I'm not standing in the room presenting this data, right? And so there are values like masculinity, like hard work, religion, patriotism, family, all these things that we have seeded to the right. I had a young man tell me in a focus group, anytime he sees an American flag on somebody's house, he knows they're white and he knows they're Republican. Uh-oh. Well, we're not going to be able to just seed family values, patriotism, masculinity. I could tell you right now, all of those values are more important to my father than the Democratic Party.
Can I ask you really quick? By the way, this is quickly becoming, I just texted the co-host. I was like,
so I want you to notice this guy right here. He's the Morehouse guy. You see, he got the Morehouse hat on. He's the Morehouse guy. And he just referenced his father. And he's the data guy. He's the data guy, and he's bringing the facts, okay? And he is bringing stuff that these people really are unprepared to deal with. They're unprepared to deal with this stuff. And I want to say this. This guy, he talks about his dad, which is very, very telling right here.
This is my favorite podcast ever so far.
I know.
Let me just go.
No, I mean, I think that's exactly right. You know, masculinity has become so triggering on the left. I mean, I've had this conversation in groups of progressives who've asked me.
So why should we stay? Why should we stay? This guy does this stuff for a living. He's collecting data. He's a Morehouse guy. He's a Democrat guy. Look at his face. Look at this guy's face. Look at this guy's face. He's telling you that there's so many people on that side who hate masculinity. It's not just triggering. They hate masculinity. And what is the form of masculinity that they hate? They hate traditional masculinity. What do they hate? They hate heterosexuality. That's what they hate. And this is not what he's going to say right here. They hate heterosexuality. The Democratic Party hates heterosexuality. It hates heterosexual black men. You got a bunch of women over there who hate heterosexuality. You got so-called straight women who have been propagandized by the LGBTQ who hate heterosexuality. And you got some men over there. You got the gay men who hate heterosexuality, and you got some men who they will tell you that they're not gay or whatever, who also hate heterosexuality. They hate it. They hate masculinity. They have a plantation feminist worldview. It's hatred. Look at this guy's face. Fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use.
Well, what is a non-toxic version of masculinity? Mm-hmm. You know, as if they don't know non-toxic men, as if I'm not standing in the room presenting this data, right? And so there are values like masculinity, like hard work, religion, patriotism, family, all these things that we have ceded to the right. I had a young man tell me in a focus group, anytime he sees an American flag on somebody's house, he knows they're white and he knows they're Republican. Well, we're not going to be able to just cede family values, patriotism, masculinity. I can tell you right now, all of those values are more important to my father than the Democratic Party.
Can I ask?
This is what he said. His daddy. This is a black man who has a father who is a patriot. This man has a father who has family values. This is a man who is comfortable in his masculinity. He is comfortable. A black man who is comfortable, his daddy that is, comfortable in his masculinity and in his patriotism and in his family values. And he believes in these things to the point that these things supersede any type of party affiliation. They supersede it. And this is what they don't understand. This is what Angela Rye, you look at her face, you look at Tiffany Cross's face, you look at Andrew Gillum. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. These people put the Democratic Party above being black. They're not black people. I don't regard them. When I look at Angela Rye and you look at Tiffany Cross and even Andrew Gillum, these people are Democrat first. They are black second or even third. And this is the problem right here. They are Democrat. Angela, she is a Democrat first. The Democratic Party is a cult. It is a cult. Is it a cult? It is a cult. They treat it as a religion. Okay? And she puts it above everything. And so does Andrew Gillum and Tiffany Cross. And this guy right here is saying, look here. You got some men who are not, who stand on business. You got men who stand on business who are not going to allow a party to dictate who I am as a black man. And you're not going to disrespect me, and you're not going to belittle me, and you're not going to lecture me and talk down to me.
Ask you really quick. By the way, this is quickly becoming, I just texted the co-host. I was like, this is my favorite podcast ever so far.
I know. But I'm so into it.
I'm really into it too. So thank you guys. Gary, I want to get you in here because I know.
You see, when they talk about black men, they get ratings. You go back and you look at their other broadcasts, you look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. You go back and you look at the commentary, you look at the comment section, everything like that. Okay? When they talk about black men, the numbers go through the roof. Okay? Ain't nobody listening to this. This is the only reason why I'm listening to it right now, because I've seen some of the other stuff, their other videos, which are, just not interesting. You understand? But when you look at the numbers and you look at the commentary and all that kind of stuff, and they did more than one, this stream was so fruitful and profitable for them that they decided to do additional streams on black men, particularly black men and their relationship with black women. Okay? So they are milking all of the problems that we have placed before them. They are milking it.
Oh, there are some thoughts and feelings and ideas you have. Like, you don't necessarily do focus groups, but you be in the streets with the people. So I want to hear from you on, like, not only the part about the head of the household, but also what you think is the cause of the shift. Now, Terrence typing his ass off.
I was going to say, who is typing?
That's Terrence. Look at Terrence.
And here's the other thing, guys. Here's the other thing. These people want to socially engineer masculinity. They want to socially engineer masculinity. They want masculinity on their terms. All these people all this plantation feminism, it's about turning heterosexual men, turning straight men, turning traditionally masculine men, turning them into plantation feminists. In other words, turning them into women, or turning them into honorary women. They want traditional straight men to be more like the gay guys, and to be more like the bisexual guys, to be more like the guys who are uncomfortable and insecure in their masculinity, to be more like the guys who are their lap dogs, the guys who they lead around. They want you to diminish yourself in order so that they can be lifted up. Okay? The other part of it is that they cannot, here's the thing, these people who are anti-patriarchy, these people who question patriarchy all the time, they cannot come to terms with the fact that you're going to have dudes who are conservative, that you're going to have dudes who believe in the Bible, they believe in the Quran, they believe in the Old Testament, they have values that are old, that as old as humanity, okay, in terms of how people understand masculinity and femininity, how they understand the family and all that kind of stuff. This stuff is not going anywhere. They can't come to terms with it. They can't come to terms with the fact that you got traditional men out here, and that they cannot change these men. More importantly, they cannot come to terms with the fact that you got a whole bunch of women out here who want traditional men. You got a whole bunch of women. We got a whole bunch of women out here who uphold patriarchy. They don't want to confront that. They don't want to deal with that. That you got women who uphold patriarchy. We see this all the time, okay, in our space and in beyond, online, TikTok, everywhere else. That these women are addicted to patriarchy, okay? And they don't want to let it go. And Angela, in the following commentary, you're going to see them kind of confessing some of this stuff on their own, because what happens is these women, like Tiffany Cross and Angela Rye, a lot of times these women, they like to pick and choose. They like to cherry pick the parts of so-called patriarchy that they like. And then the other stuff is like, okay, we don't want this. You understand? But the problem is that they cannot change men. They want to socially engineer men, and the fact that black men are moving away and that black men refuse to be converted and colonized by this democratic plantation feminism is killing them. Fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use. Y'all get the likes up, man. Get these likes up, get these likes up. I'm the Mad Professor. This is Friday Night Live. This is my first time doing a broadcast of this nature. My first time. Y'all get them likes up, get them likes up, get them likes up.
Guilty.
He didn't
want me to ask you a good question, Gary. You know I can't focus. That is so rude. But no, I'm just playing. But the head of household piece, especially being in the South, but also what you think is the reason, like when you talk to people, what's the reason for them to have even either stayed at home in 2024, particularly Black men, or to have voted against their interest and voted with the Trump party?
Edie.
I think
Hold
it's,
on, before
first of all, thank you all for having me.
Things that we have ceded to the right. I had a young.
But the head of household piece, especially being in the South, but also what you think is the reason, like when you talk to people, what's the reason for them to?
Here's what she says. She thinks that Black men, and this is where the smugness comes in. This is where the condescension comes in. This is where the moral superiority comes in. This is where the fake intellectual superiority comes in. This is where it comes in. All this fakeness, this fake moral superiority, this fake intellectual superiority, all right? Just superiority all the way. We know what's better for you. We know what's best for you, okay? You are voting against your interest, okay? All right? That is, your interest is to vote like a Black American woman. To vote like a B-dub, a liberal Black woman at that. But here's another guy, the second guy in this stream who was a guest.
Have even either stayed at home in 24, particularly Black men, or to have voted against their interests and voted with the Trump party?
I think it's, first of all, thank you all for having me today.
Thank you, brother, for being here.
An important conversation. I have struggled with what I feel is getting the voices of Black men to be heard in this season, right? I think that there's been a period of time, and Black men, the patriarchal structure of America has been guilty of muting women and their perspectives for so long that once we began to sit back and listen a little bit, our voices in response have not been heard. And I think you see that in the reactions in elections, right? I think that overwhelmingly, we see that Black men want to be for the policies and the things that Democrats are for. However, if you are telling me that I have to be for something, well, damn it, I'm a man, right? I ain't got to be for nothing. And so what you see in some men is a automatic rejection to the fact that I get to have a say in what is happening here, right? We have been talked at so much rather than talked to. When we talk about the 20% of Black men who are on the other side, we spend so much time talking about them and so little time valuing the 80% of Black men who were on the side of Democrats, who have been supporting Black women. I'm from a city, Baton Rouge, where for over a decade, the majority of our elected officials in the Black community were Black women because Black men and women put them in power. That's how we ended up with a Sharon Weston Broome as the first Black woman mayor of our city, right? And her career would not get there if Black men had not supported her. So I think that acknowledgement of Black men has to happen at a greater pace, at a louder volume than we have had in the past. When the vice president was running, I tell you personally, there are people I reached out to in August saying, I think we should be having some roundtables with brothers. We should be doing some things. I was told in nice ways and not so nice ways by certain people, like, look, we ain't focused on that right now. You know, we need to get white America, middle America, all of this. And one of the things I've said to Democrats in the beginning from day one is, If your base is black men and black women, if that is the base, you take care of them before you go see about anybody else, right? You make sure that those people are satisfied, that they feel valued. And in our community, black women are always more loyal than black men are going to be in these situations. If you come testing us with certain situations, we're going to look for the other option, okay? Black women have a lot more. Black women have a lot more to sacrifice through this government, right? The government isn't trying to take away our right to see a doctor the way that we need to. So there are certain things that black women cannot negotiate with in this scenario that black men can. The other thing.
So this guy is compromised. This guy right here is compromised. Thank you, Gregory Scotland, man. Thank you for that, man. We appreciate you, man. Thank you for that. Thank you for that super sticker, man, my brother. Thank you, Gregory Scotland, for the double play, man. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. This man is double-minded. This black man right here, he's double-minded. He's double-minded. On the one hand, this black man has just acknowledged that this Democratic Party treats black men like crap. He's just acknowledged it. And I'm going to go back to it. He acknowledges that black men are ignored, that the Democratic Party, which includes these black women, they don't care what these black men think or what they have to say. They're not interested in their perspectives. They're not going to consult them at any level. They're disregarded. They're disposable. Again, the men are toxic. The men are toxic. They don't want, these are men who don't like being lectured to. These are men who don't like being talked down to. This man is saying, he's saying all this stuff here. He's saying all this stuff here. On one hand, he's double-minded. This brother is double-minded. But on the other hand, he's talking about, well, you know, black men continue to support. Black men continue to support black women in the Democratic Party, and we're there, and 80% of black men show up to the polls. They show up to the polls, and black men are responsible for, you know, black women being elected to office, and so black men are supporting black women in all of that, and we need to highlight these men, and we need to celebrate these men, and we cannot ignore these men. And we spend too much time on the other 20%. We spend too much time on the 20% who you can't control. But listen, brother, the reason why you're on this podcast is because of the 20%. The reason why you're here is because of us in this space. That's the reason why. That's the reason why you were invited. That's the reason why you're a part of this native land conversation, because of us recalcitrant, disobedient black men. Yes, us belligerent black men, us free-thinking black men. That's the reason why you're here. You're not here because they want to talk about the 80%, because they don't care about the 80%, because the 80% is taken for granted. The 80% is not, the 80% doesn't make any demands. The 80% goes along to get along, okay? They know that they have the votes of the 80%, so they don't have to do anything for the votes of the 80%. That is the 80% of black men who continue to support this party. But you all are in a conundrum. You all are befuddled. You all are perplexed because you are losing more and more and more black men with each election cycle. And we in this space are a part of that 20% which have left the building. Thank you, Barry Little. Thank you, Barry Little, for that. We appreciate you. We appreciate your support, my brother. We appreciate you, man. Thank you for that super sticker. Thank you for the super sticker, man. Y'all get the likes up. Y'all get the likes up. Y'all get the likes up. Let me finish this, what this guy is saying right here. Get your likes up. Get the likes up.
Thing I think is the Democratic Party sucks at an economic message. When you talk about this conversation about who's the head of household, Black men are concerned about how they provide for their families, how they show up in the world financially, and how we do that. When we look at 59% of Black women saying that they see that role is the head of the household is for a Black man, that is because they see the role of a Black man as providing for his family and creating stability for his family. Whether that is a 50-50 makeup of the household or taking care of 100% of the bills, because there's a lot of Black women in America who don't pay a bill because a Black man pays them all. Okay, those Black men are not praised or considered enough in the conversations. And that is a part of the problem, because we spend so much time listening to the podcast bros who have gotten so much voice in this hour.
Here it is. And here it is, guys. And here it is. And here it is. I want y'all to pay attention to this. Here it is. The podcast bros. Thank you, Gregory Scotland. The podcast bros. I want y'all to pay attention to this. The podcast bros. SYSBM is in the house. Passport bros. If more and more. Face it, it is a new day. You're absolutely right. It's a new day. Passport OG is in the house, man. Good to see you, Passport OG. And here it is. And here it is. And here it is. Brothers, I said this before. You all know this, but I'm going to keep saying it and I'm going to say it again and again and again. Everything that we have done in this space over the years, especially over the last 10 years, has made a political impact, an undeniable political impact. Now, they're going to talk about the passport bros. I'm sorry, not the passport bros, but the podcast bros. It's made an undeniable political impact, okay? And this man is mad because these other men are not being celebrated. Look at this. You want to be celebrated. These women refuse to celebrate you. These white liberals refuse to celebrate you. They treat you like crap. This guy, he's telling the truth. He's being honest. He's being honest, but at the same time, there's this desire to be recognized. There is this desire for affirmation. There is this desire for a greater embrace of Black men. And this is something that we have to deal with. We have to deal with this psychologically with us Black men. You understand? When it comes down to this plantation feminism, and this is the simp part right here, man. When it comes down to this plantation feminism, man, it has a hold on our minds. It has a hold on our minds. It's like you're begging. It's like those old songs, please, baby, please, baby, please, baby, please. I want to be with you, please, baby, please, love me, love me, love me, love me, love me. That's the song that this guy is singing, while at the same time speaking the truth about this party.
That we have abandoned the voices of the men who have been anchors in our communities for decades. The reason I learned how to follow a Black woman's leadership, my pastor was a Black woman who had a Black husband who was 6'5" and 250 pounds, who would pound you on the top of your head if you said anything about his wife. And when he was the lead, I never struggled with seeing a Black woman in leadership.
Here comes all the pandering now. Here's the pandering. It's the pandering, the panda bear. This is the simping. That simp chip is deep, brothers. It's that simp chip. It's that panda bear simp chip. Even though he got a daddy, right? He got a daddy. His daddy says it all. That panda bear simp chip is in activation right here. That's that winter soldier. It's that winter soldier coming out right here.
Because the person who taught me my faith was a Black woman, but she was supported by a strong Black man, right? And that was an example that was shown to me from infancy until this day. We don't let the Jim Howards of the world get enough shine today.
I have I'm so grateful to you brothers for being here. because I have so many thoughts on everything you just said. And Gary, every time you speak, it almost feels like I'm in church. I feel like you always, delivering a word. So I really appreciate your perspective.
She ain't lying. She's lying. I'm saying she's lying. Look at her face. Look at her face. She's sucking it in. She's not impressed. She is not impressed by what he just said. She's playing and trying to pretend as though she's pretending that she's actually impressed by what he says. Okay? But she's not really listening. You understand? She's used to it. She's used to this type of simping, not impressed by the simping. She feels that, this simping it's what he's supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do is simp. This is, that's it. Fair use, fair use, fair use.
So I'm saying that if you will give me a little bit of space and grace to vent. I see these slides and I try to be really honest and unfiltered on this podcast where I filter is when I'm talking about Black men, because I never wanted to come across like I'm have some righteous frustrations with our brothers. In transparency, I'm writing about this. So y'all will read about all of these thoughts. And that's why I find the data so fascinating. One, when they say, when Black men say their thoughts about being the head of the household, okay, you believe Black men should be the head of the household. Does that mean a Black woman cannot be the head of a nation? And I wonder what the dichotomy is there. Two, yes, Black men overwhelmingly are Democratic voters. I would be remiss if I didn't remind everyone that when this country had an opportunity to elect the first Black man to the highest office of the land, everyone in the Black community were right behind him, post-primary. Everybody rallied behind him. You did not hear droves of Black women saying, well, wait, before I go on specific,
and here's the she doesn't understand. She doesn't understand that we are not them. We are not them. And this is the problem right here. She doesn't understand that we are not them. That we don't think like a Black woman. We don't think like Black women. We don't do math the way that Black women do math. Okay? We don't do science the way that Black women do science. We don't do economics the way that Black women do economics. We are not Black women. So she is speaking from her crouch. She is speaking from her narrow, limited orientation. This is the problem right here. This is what you call solipsism. This is the solipsistic nature of this plantation feminism. Let me go on.
Feel like Black women, we keep the greater good in mind. Our interest is not so self-centered. When we organize, we are organizing for the greater good. It seems like the Republican Party.
What greater good is she talking about? What greater good? We are organizing for the greater good. What does the greater good look like? Since Obama, Black people have been voting and supporting this party. Okay? And we can go before Obama. Okay? And the conditions that the vast majority of Black people find themselves in right now have not been altered. Have not been altered. What greater good are you all fighting for? What greater good? Where is the proof? Where is the evidence? She don't have any proof. She don't have any evidence. And as for self-interest, so what? So what? So what? You got men who are voting out of their own self-interest. You got men who are voting out of a sense of individualism. They're voting out of a sense of individualism. They're not voting in relationship to the community. The community. They're not voting in relationship to your tribalistic affiliations, okay, with the LGBTQ and everybody else, and the people of color, and BIPOC, and so on and so forth, and white women, and all this rainbow stuff. She is not a deep thinker.
Is able to pick off these Black men because of something individual, something that they will individually get. We've seen example like this time after time. You take Snoop Dogg with Rick Caruso in Los Angeles. It was something that he specifically got. You can take, I don't want to center on celebrities because they're, you know, this is across the board, but it's something that speaks specifically to them. I as a woman, I'll be honest, I do have some belief in what people might call toxic masculinity. Like somebody else needs to always drive me. 2, I ain't never pumping no gas. I don't never want to pump. No, I don't want to touch gas. Somebody else is doing that. 3, I don't want to take out no trash. Like I do believe in traditional gender roles in a lot of ways. And I think there is something interesting happening, which is what I'm exploring in my writing. There's something interesting happening in this dichotomy between Black men and Black women, where it is an immediate animus upon meeting each other. What are you trying to take from me? What is it you're going to give to me? Even these terms like a high value man, high value woman. And that kind of toxic thinking has penetrated our politics in a way where you are throwing a tantrum in the voting booth, again, because of something that you are dealing with personally. And look, I done been killed, okay? I done been wronged by Black men. I've probably, you know, popped off at the mouth to Black men in ways I shouldn't have. I can still consider the greater good in my policy and in my politics. And it doesn't seem like that exists always. So I'm not putting brothers down, but I do believe we have righteous frustrations that need to be addressed. And I think it's a family conversation, not one to have on a round table in front of folk who ain't kinfolk.
It's not a family conversation. I don't know where she get this from. This ain't no family conversation. See, and this is the problem right here. This is the problem right here. Politics is about economics. Politics is about self-interest. Politics is about so many things. It ain't just about some family. This is a family conversation. Now you want to turn this into church. You want to turn this into something else. No. No, it's too late to have the family thing. You see? It's too late for that. It is too late. No. You all created your own little tribalistic thing, your little own tribalistic sisterhood. You want to talk about family now? You've been tribalistic for the past 5 decades. You understand? You can you can barely talk about the education of Black boys. You can barely talk about the education of Black boys and black youth without demonizing them, without castigating them, without attributing the educational deficits to some deep pathology or something inherently wrong with Black men and boys, or more broadly to Black men. There's something wrong with the Black male population. It's too late for the family talk. It's too late for that. She want to have family talk. But the one thing that she does get right, let's go back here. We're gonna go back here. I'm gonna tell you what she gets right.
Household. Okay, you believe Black men should be the head of the household. Does that mean a Black woman cannot be the head of a nation? And I wonder what the dichotomy is there. 2,
what they got to do.
I was told, okay, those Black men are
Black men down, even though I believe we rightfully have some righteous frustrations with our brothers. And
you need to see a therapist. Yeah, you need to see a therapist. She says that they got frustrations. You need to go see a therapist. That's what you need to do. Go see a therapist. Go see a therapist. That's what you need to go. Go see a therapist.
Transparency, I'm writing about this. So y'all will read about all of these thoughts, and that's why I find the data so fascinating. One, when they say when Black men say their thoughts about being the head of the household, okay, you believe Black men should be the head of the household. Does that mean a Black woman cannot be the head of a nation? And I wonder what the dichotomy is there. 2,
she sucked. Okay, she sucked. She doesn't understand. She sucked. That's why she lost. Okay, and she's not a black woman. She's a South Asian woman. Okay, she's not a black American woman. She sucked. It ain't got nothing to do with no household. Kamala Harris sucked. That's why she lost.
Yes, Black men overwhelmingly are Democratic voters. I would be remiss if I didn't remind everyone that when this country had an opportunity to elect the first Black man to the highest office of the land, everyone in the Black community were right behind him. Post-primary, everybody rallied behind him. You did not hear droves of Black women saying, well, wait, before I give him my support, what's he doing for me? I don't want to hear about Black men. What are you doing specifically for me as a Black woman? No, we were right behind President Obama. We were right there
Obama and Harris were not the same. Number one, Kamala Harris was not a Barack Obama. That's the number one thing. Number 2, we learned our lesson with Obama. We learned our lesson with Obama. This is why this is airhead feminism. This is airhead stuff. This is airhead feminism. We learned our lesson with Barack Obama. Okay? By the time 2012 came, okay, Barack Obama told us who he is, okay? And that we ought not be expecting anything from him. Okay? So we understood that if somebody came, it was already there. Somebody comes down the line similar to Obama, we're not going to allow this person to get a pass the way in which Obama got a pass. Okay? Now, the other thing that she does not want to say is that when Obama ran in 2008, there were Black women who was on Hillary's side. She's not going to talk about this because it was Hillary and Obama that were competing, okay, for the Democratic nomination. Hillary and Obama, okay? And there were Black women from the boomer generation who were in support of Hillary Clinton, okay? And they were supporting Hillary Clinton because she is a woman, because she got a vagina. In fact, Michael Eric Dyson and his wife, Marcia Dyson, were public about their own disagreements over Obama and Hillary. Michael Eric Dyson was supporting Obama. His wife, Marcia Dyson, was supporting Hillary Clinton. And there were a bunch of other Black women from that generation who were supporting Hillary Clinton for their own selfish reasons. You see, this is the problem right here, guys. This is the problem right here with some of these people who are, they tell the world that they're journalists, but they're entertainers. They don't read books. They don't study and all that kind of stuff. And how they think about politics is just so underdeveloped. And again, the larger issue is that we don't think like Black women. And that's it. That's the big problem. They want Black men to think and behave and operate like Black women. And they cannot deal with the fact that those days are numbered. They're gone. These brothers are moving independently.
Campaigning, organizing. And sometimes it does feel like Black women, we keep the greater good in mind. Our interest is not so self-centered.
You are the most selfish group in the United States of America. You are selfish. You all are self-absorbed. You all are narcissistic. What are you talking about? What about Jasmine Crockett? Jasmine Crockett, okay? They are celebrating a self-absorbed narcissist who is do nothing. Okay? A do nothing person. Okay? That's it. A grandizing person who's only interested in bringing attention to herself. And the sister girls are eating up her ratchet menstrual act.
We organize, we are organizing for the greater good. It seems like the Republican Party is able to pick off these Black men because of something individual, something that
Yes, and there's nothing wrong with that. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that.
they will individually get. We've seen example like this time after time. You take Snoop Dogg with Rick Caruso in Los Angeles. It was something that he specifically got. You can take, I don't want to center on celebrities because they're, you know, this is across the board, but it's something that speaks specifically to them. As a woman, I'll be honest, I do have some belief in what people might call toxic masculinity. One, I don't want to drive ever. Like somebody else needs to always drive me.
Here it goes. This is the selective patriarchy right here. This is where they pick and choose which parts of patriarchy that they want. This is where they pick and choose it. This is where they pick and choose it. You see, you can't take these people seriously because they'll never come out and say that they only want parts of it. Okay, they'll never be honest about the parts of it that they like. They always, you know, exaggerate about the worst extremes of masculinity.
2, I ain't never pumping no gas. I don't never want to pump. I don't want to touch gas. Somebody else is doing that. 3, I don't want to take out no trash. Like I do believe in traditional gender roles.
Look at you. You are a utility. You are a utility. You're a service boy. Let me back this up. We're gonna back this up. Listen to what she says about so-called toxic masculinity and what she prefers. Listen to this nonsense.
And I wonder what the dichotomy is there. 2, yes, you know, Black men overwhelmingly are Democratic voters. I would be remiss if I didn't remind everyone that when this country had an opportunity to elect the first Black man to the highest office of the land, everyone in the Black community were right behind him, post-primary. Everybody rallied behind him. You did not hear droves of Black women saying, well, wait, before I give him my support, what's he doing for me? I don't want to hear about Black women. What are you doing specifically for me as a Black woman? No, we were right behind President Obama. We were right there campaigning, organizing. And sometimes it does feel like Black women, we keep the greater good in mind. Our interest is not so self-centered. When we organize, we are organizing for the greater good. It seems like the Republican Party is able to pick off these Black men because of something individual, something that they will individually get. We've seen example like this time after time. You take Snoop Dogg with Rick Caruso in Los Angeles. It was something that he specifically got across the board, but it's something that speaks specifically to them.
Yeah, and politics is about self-interest. It's about self-interest. Self-interest. Okay, when women made all that noise about abortion, all that noise about abortion, they darn near made the entire 2024, the Democratic Party, that is, election, from their vantage point, about abortion. Michelle Obama was going in on men over abortion. That was the only issue that she talked about. The only one. Didn't talk about the economy, didn't talk about immigration, didn't talk about Russia and China and Iran and anything like that. She was solely focused on women's rights, abortion. That's not about self-interest. That's not about, and a bunch of y'all was right there with her.
As a woman, I'll be honest, I do have some belief in what people might call toxic masculinity.
Listen to what she thinks about men. Listen closely what she thinks about men.
1, I don't want to drive ever. Like somebody else needs to
drive. Look at that.
Always drive me. 2, I ain't never pumping no gas. I don't never want to pump. I don't want to touch gas. Somebody else is doing that. 3, I don't want to take out no trash. Like I do believe in traditional gender roles in a lot of ways. And I think there is something interesting happening, which is what I'm exploring in my writing. There's something interesting happening in this dichotomy between Black men and Black women where it is an immediate animus upon meeting each other. What are you trying to take from me? What is it you're going to give to me? Even these terms like a high value man, high value woman. And that kind of toxic thinking has penetrated our politics in a way.
Yes, it has. Yes, and I'm so glad. And we are so glad. Yes, it has penetrated our politics. You are absolutely right. It has raised the stakes. It has raised the stakes. And it was inevitable. It was completely inevitable. After all those decades and decades of saying that black men are trash, they're calling black men savages, decades and decades of saying that black men are worthless, black men are broke, decades and decades of calling us dusty and all that kind of stuff. Are you surprised that after all that time that a response that was instigated by technology, okay, by the iPhone, doggone it, by desktop technology, you surprised that these guys got microphones and start talking about what was on their minds and their interactions? Are you surprised? And are you surprised that it eventually made its way into the political arena? My brothers, I submit to you, my brothers, I submit to you that we are looking at the perplexed. Look at Angela Rye. Look at that face. They are perplexed. They are perplexed. They are in a state of perplexity right now. They are perplexed. Tiffany Cross cannot sleep at night now. She can't sleep at night. This bothers her. She's writing a book about this. She's made the connections. We are inside of her head. We are inside of their heads. We're inside of their heads, guys. I want you to note this. We are living in their heads. We're living in their heads. We're living in their heads, and we're living in their heads rent-free. Rent-free. Tiffany Cross cannot sleep at night now. The podcasts are preventing her from sleeping at night. She's writing a book. She is perplexed. She is perplexed. Angela Ryan, look at this face. Look at this face. Perplexity.
Yeah.
Where you are throwing a tantrum in the voting booth again because of something that you are dealing with personally. And look, I done been killed. Okay, I done been wronged by black men. I've probably
let's go back here.
Black women, we keep the greater good in mind. Our interest is not so self-centered. When we organize, we are organizing for the greater good. It seems like the Republican Party is able to pick off these black men because of something individual, something that they will individually get. We've seen, I'm not putting brothers down, but I do believe we have righteous frustrations that need to be addressed. And I think it's a family conversation, not one to have on a round table in front of folk who ain't kinfolk.
Can I just say this really quick?
No,
I don't want to center on celebrities because they're,
we're not done.
This is across the board, but it's something that speaks specifically to them. As a woman, I'll be honest, I do have some belief in what people might call toxic masculinity. One, I don't want to drive ever. Like somebody else needs to always drive me. Two, I ain't never pumping no gas. I don't never want to pump. No, I don't want to touch gas. Somebody else is doing that. Three, I don't want to take out no trash. Like I do believe in traditional gender roles in a lot of ways. And I think there is something interesting happening, which is what I'm exploring in my writing. There's something interesting happening in this dichotomy between black men and black women, where it is an immediate animus upon meeting each other.
Yes. And who was responsible for it? Who is responsible for the animus? Who is responsible for the animus? There is an immediate animus upon meeting one another. Who's responsible for it? You know, it's funny how these people engage in revisionist history and revisionist thinking. It's so interesting. It's like, you know, where did all this come from? Where did all this come from? How did it start? Who kicked this off? Why is all this going on right now? The last thing she's going to do is look in the mirror. That's the last thing she's going to do, and look in the mirror and take responsibility for her role and the role of so many others like her and those who came before her in this so-called animus.
What are you trying to take from me? What is it you're going to give to me? Even these terms like a high value man, high value woman. And that kind of toxic thinking has penetrated our politics in a way where you are throwing a tantrum in the voting booth, again, because of something that you are dealing with personally.
But the feminists talked about the personal and political. That's the thing. The feminists talked about the personal and political, the feminist. That was their mantra. That was their mantra. The mantra of the feminist, is that the personal is the political. Thank you, Golden Child, man. Thank you, Golden Child, for that. Thank you. Thank you, Golden Child, for that. The black community voted for Obama. Voted for a black family, not Obama. If Obama had a non-black woman on his arm and mixed race kids, that wouldn't have even won. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. No, they were the ones. The feminists were the ones who talked about the personal as political. They were the ones. We didn't create that. Y'all created that. The personal is political. When you say my body and my choice, when y'all say my body, my choice, that's what y'all mean by the personal is political. That's what they've been saying for 60 years. That came out of it. The personal is political. The personal is political. But it's hard for you to fathom black men also connecting their personal lives to the political domain. Huh? Everybody does it. Everybody does it. Everybody does it. You see, here's the thing, guys. These people expect us to be suffering saviors. And this is why they have a problem. They expect black men to be sacrificial lambs. They expect black men to be benevolent, to be altruistic. They expect black men to be long-suffering. They expect black men to be the mules of the world. Black men are supposed to be the doormats of the world. Black men are only good as utilities. Just look at her description of toxic masculinity. Look at her description of masculinity. She says she prefers traditional gender roles. And the first thing that she goes to when she talks about the gender, the roles that she prefers for when it comes down to men is a man taking out the trash. A man taking out the trash. That's what she begins with. A man taking out the trash, a man putting gasoline in her tank, okay? That sort of thing. Manual labor, basically. So her starting point for masculinity is basically manual labor. Who is going to cut the grass? Who going to cut the grass? That's her starting point for masculinity. Golden Child, man, thank you again. Jamari, I want to thank you, man. Jamari says, I heard her say she didn't want to pump gas, drive, and take out the trash. What part of being traditional duties would she do for her man? Exactly. What would she do? And she's not going to say what she going to do. She just wants to be served. She wants to be served, and she will never tell you what service looks like from her. No, they can't even imagine service to a man. A black man in particular, they can't even imagine it. Let's go back here to what she was talking about right here.
Look, I done been killed, okay? I done been wronged by black men. I've probably, popped off at the black men in ways I shouldn't have. I'm not taking, I can still consider that in my
let's go back. Let's go back here.
Policy and in my politics. And it doesn't, as a woman, I'll be honest, I do have some belief in what people might call toxic masculinity. I'm not putting brothers down, but I do believe we have righteous frustrations that need to be addressed.
Go to therapy. That's what you need. Go to therapy. Go to therapy. Go to therapy.
I think it's a family conversation, not one to have on a round table in front of folk who ain't kinfolk.
Can I just say this really quick before you guys weigh in? It's just
you take Snoop Dogg with Rick Caruso. Are you trying to take from me? What is it you're going to give to me? Even these terms like a high value man, high value woman. And that kind of toxic thinking has penetrated our politics in a way. A tantrum. And look,
y'all do that. That's your politics. That's feminist politics as well.
I done been killed, okay? Out to black men in ways I shouldn't have.
Hold on. Let's go back there.
As a woman, I'll be honest, I do have some belief in what people. I'm not putting brothers down, but I do believe we have righteous frustrations that need to be addressed. And I think it's a family conversation, not one to have on a round table in front of folk who ain't kinfolk.
I want to go back here, this thing here, man.
Never want to pump, 9 want to touch gas. Somebody else is doing that. 3, I don't want to take out no trash. Like, I do believe in traditional gender roles in a lot of ways. And I think there is something interesting happening, which is what I'm exploring in my writing. There's something interesting happening in this dichotomy between black men and black women, where it is an immediate animus upon meeting each other. What are you trying to take from me? What is it you're going to give to me? Even these terms like
yeah, what you going to give to me? How much money do you make? Are you going to take me shopping? Are you going to buy me a Birkin bag? Are you going to pay for my rent? Are you going to pay my bills? My bills. Huh? Is what you want. Men are basic. Most men are basic. Most men, all we want is respect. We want respect. We want some of that kitty cat. That's what we want. We want some respect. We want some kitty cat. And if you know how to cook us a good meal. Treat us right. We want basic stuff. We want basic stuff. Y'all want a whole luxury lifestyle. You understand? We have to work harder at making you happy than the other way around.
High value man, high value woman. And that kind of toxic thinking has penetrated our politics in a way where you are throwing a tantrum in the voting booth, again, because of something that you are dealing with personally. And look, I done been killed, okay? I done been wronged by black men.
Here it comes, guys. This is the part I wanted to get. Listen to this.
Probably, popped off at the mouth to black men in ways I shouldn't have.
See, that's the problem. That's the problem. That's the problem right there. You see, and no one wants to deal with the political version of that. No one wants to deal with the political version of that. No one wants to deal with a party. We don't want to deal with a political party that is animated by that. We don't want the political manifestation of that. And the Democratic Party is the political manifestation of you popping off at the mouth and being disrespectful. And men have no reason whatsoever to affiliate with a party that has so much vitriol and venom toward them. Thank you, Jamari. Thank you, Jamari. We see that. Yeah, she said she didn't want to pump gas and take out the trash. She don't want to do anything else. Y'all get the likes up. I've been here for we're going on. A little over 2 hours, man. Y'all get the likes up. Y'all get the likes up. This is the first time he's doing this. Mr. Rogers Neighborhood, thank you for that, man. We appreciate you, man. We appreciate you, my guy. Yeah, y'all. Do I remember the Mel Gibson movie, What Women Want? Yes, I certainly do. I certainly do. I remember it. I remember What Women Want. We got 123 people in the house. We got 123 people in the house. Y'all get the likes up. Get the likes up. Cash App $ BMI 3000 if you want to contribute. Cash App $ BMI 3000 if you want to contribute. This is Friday Night Live. We are moving forward. Jamari has another super chat. Another super chat. He says modern women are largely very self-centered and selfish. For example, they claim they love men, but believe his money is theirs while her money is her money. Absolutely. 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 That's what they do. That is what they do. Thank you for that, man. Y'all get the likes up. Get the likes up. We are moving forward. We are moving forward. Let's play some more of this. And I'm
not taking, I can still consider the greater good in my policy and in my politics. And it doesn't seem like that exists always. So I'm not putting brothers down, but I do believe we have righteous frustrations that need to be addressed. And I think it's a family conversation, not one to have on a round table in front of folk who ain't kinfolk.
Can I just say this really quick before you guys weigh in? It's just a filter. I will tell you that, Tiff, I'm the one that pops off at the mouth at everybody. So I just own that. It don't matter if you're man, woman, boy, child. It don't matter. But I'm working on it. But I will say that.
We don't want it. And we don't want it. And that's the problem. You have no filter. You have no impulse control. That's the problem. And see, we are reaching a place right now in the United States where tolerance for that, okay, is waning. It's waning. Let's go back here. Let me go back here. Let me go back here. Let me go back here.
A friend that sounds very conservative about Black men. I'm normally the one that Tiff is.
One, I don't want to drive ever. I'm not putting brothers down, but
or the Black guy that look like white people will vote for.
Okay. Exactly. Okay, yeah. That wasn't part of this particular point, but I hear you. I think that's very fair. But this point was just on what Black people laid aside because we thought that this was going to finally be our opportunity. We were told to wait until his second term. So we wait really quick before you guys weigh in. It's just a filter. I will tell you that, Tiff, I'm the one that pops off at the mouth at everybody. So I just own that. It don't matter if you're man, woman, boy, child. It don't matter. But I'm working.
And see the brothers, they just laughing and hee and giggling, a ka or hoo a hee. They just laughing. You think that's cool? It ain't cool. It ain't cool. And this is a part of culture that needs to change. This is a part of the culture that needs to change. And as long as you have a bunch of people who are like her in their party, men are going to run away. They're going to run away. They're going to go somewhere else. They're going to deal with other women in another party, another political orientation and what have you, who have greater control over themselves and their emotions. Okay? You can't always say what you think. You have to have some impulse control, and you got to be careful. You see this? I mean, anyway.
Working on it, but I will say that I normally in conversations, I'm normally the friend that sounds very conservative about Black men. I'm normally the one that Tiff is already nodding. I'm normally the one that's running, be like, well, did they really do it like that? What actually happened? Like, I'm very protective of Black men in that way. And I gotta say, I wonder if these numbers for Black men, their performance in the election for Kamala Harris in 24 would have looked different if Kamala Harris or a Kamala Harris would have run around the same time as Barack Obama or before. Follow me on this. I think that a lot of people threw everything aside for President Obama because he appeared to be the change, the hope we believed in, the reparations we deserve, the justice we'd finally see, the economic opportunity that we've always deserved, like all of these things. And
or the black guy that looked like white people will vote for.
okay,
Exactly.
okay,
Yeah.
that wasn't part of this particular point, but I hear you. I think that's very fair. But this point was just on what Black people laid aside because we thought that this was going to finally be our opportunity. We were told to wait until his second term. So we waited until his second term. And when that second term came to an end, we were still on the chopping block. We still had to sacrifice the most. We still didn't get our needs met necessarily. I'm not saying
it was worse in some way.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But she can't understand. Here's the thing. She can go back and she can look at what happened with Obama and black people and how at the end of the second term, we still waiting for that reparations check. No reparations. He doesn't use the bully pulpit when you have all these black people being shot down in the streets. He's being forced whenever he does speak, it's because he's being forced to address what's going on in the streets. You understand? He's already helped the gays and lesbians. 2015, the gay marriage is passed by the Supreme Court. It makes it official, gay marriage. He bailed out Wall Street. He bailed out Wall Street. He bailed out white women. And people are watching this, and you are surprised that by the time that we get to Kamala Harris, that the thrill is gone. You're surprised that by the time that we get to this woman who was cosplaying as a black woman, that no one is enthusiastic, or not all of us are enthusiastic about her. You see, these people are playing in our faces. They understand. They got to understand. They are in denial. They will admit it, but in reality, there's this deep denial about how atrocious this Democratic Party is.
Right. So let's say all that. Although Trayvon Martin could have been his son, right? And Amazing Grace at Emmanuel after the Emmanuel 9, Mother Emanuel massacre. All I'm saying is, some of the intense frustration with the parties reached a fever pitch after nothing really changed, especially when you go in the hood under a President Obama. So then you're like, okay, well, Hillary Clinton, they're like, I don't know. Now, if he couldn't do it, I really don't know. Then Donald Trump would have looked different if Kamala Harris would have run around the same time as Barack Obama.
Listen to what she's saying. Listen to what she's saying here. And then look at her. Listen to her admission. Listen to her admission when she talks about the hood.
Or before. Follow me on this. I think that a lot of people threw everything aside for President Obama because he appeared to be the change, the hope we believed in, the reparations we deserve, the justice we'd finally see, the economic opportunity that we've always deserved, like all of these things. And
or the black guy that looked like white people will vote for.
Exactly.
Okay, that wasn't part of this particular point, but I hear you. I think that's very fair. But this point was just on what Black people laid aside because we thought that this was going to finally be our opportunity.
Oh, what opportunity? We laid stuff aside. We gave him so much grace. We gave him so much grace, We allowed him to use our history, the Civil Rights Movement, Martin Luther King Jr., Selma, I Have a Dream, Brown v. Board of Education, everything. You know, I mean, so many people had done died. It's Kwame Ture, Black Panthers, all that kind of stuff, opening up society for the whole doggone world. The great interracial, biracial hope.
We were told to wait until his second term. So we waited until his second term. And when that second term came to an end, we were still on the chopping block. We still had to sacrifice the most. We still didn't get our needs met necessarily. I'm not saying
it was worse in some way.
Okay.
Now you see that they acknowledge it, but they're in denial. They acknowledge it, but at the same time, they're in denial.
Right. So let's say all that. Although Trayvon Martin could have been his son, right? And Amazing Grace at Emmanuel after Emmanuel 9, Mother Emanuel massacre. All I'm saying is some of the intense frustration with the parties reached a fever pitch after nothing really changed, especially when you go in the hood under a President Obama. So
what did she just say? She said nothing really changed when you went into the hood under the presidency of Obama. Nothing changed. Nothing. You got nothing to show for it. You have absolutely nothing. I said this the other day on Facebook. I said black men who have voted consistently for the Democratic Party during Obama, before Obama, and after Obama have absolutely nothing to show for their votes. Nothing, nothing. This is why I stopped voting for the Democratic Party. This is why I stopped. After Hillary Clinton, I said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not. When I realized that I had nothing to show for it, and I realized that after Hillary Clinton, and I voted for her reluctantly. I was going to sit out 2016. I was going to sit out 2016. Okay. And I voted at the last minute because I allowed some plantation feminists shame me and say, "Oh, you need to vote, Ron. You need to vote because you don't know what this man gonna do." And I'll be honest about that. I'll be honest about that. I was gonna stay home in 2016, and that plantation stuff. They were putting that plantation stuff out there, plantation fear. Now it was the last time I voted for that Democratic Party. I tell you that much. Thank you, Robert Campbell, man. Thank you for that. I appreciate you, man. He says she only likes masculinity when it's in service to her goals. Black men are the rental she wants to use to get to the feminist land. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. We've got a split Jim 56. Thank you for that. Thank you. Salute to you, my brothers. Salute to you, man. Y'all get the likes up. Y'all get the likes up. Y'all get the likes up. Cash App, $ BMI 3000. If you want to do it via Cash App, $ BMI 3000. Cash App, $ BMI 3000. I got 127 people in the house. I'm not going to keep you guys out here all night because I know some of you guys have other things to do. I'm going to check out shortly. We're going to wrap this thing up, but I appreciate all of your support on this Friday night. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys. Let's go on right here.
Then you're like, okay, well, Hillary Clinton, they're like, I don't know. Now, if he couldn't do it, I really don't know. Then Donald Trump.
And she was super predator lady.
I'm clear. Donald
Right.
Trump, super predator lady. See, I peeped that too, Gary, but I'm with you. Also, she was born on my birthday, so shout out to Hillary. But I will just say this. You have those two, then you have Trump, and then you have this narrative that under Trump, people were doing better because they weren't prosecuted yet for them PPP loans and, all of the other things that check felt like it was going to go a little further. They didn't really understand the congressional role. They don't really remember it feeling like that under Joe Biden. Joe Biden is the same Joe Biden of the crime bill, to bring that back in, Gary, but they still pushed it aside, particularly in 2020. Because
that was the problem. You keep pushing it aside. You keep pushing it aside. Keep pushing it, pushing it, pushing it. You're the side chick. How long are you going to be the side chick? So Black America under the Democratic Party is basically a side chick. That's what you are. You are a side chick. You are a jump off. You're a jump off. You're a jump off.
Because there's this George Floyd moment, but the George Floyd moment was lost too. And so we're back at square one.
Even George Floyd lost. Look at that.
And I just have to wonder if in the flat.
And she can't even understand why people are moving away, why Black men in particular are moving away. She has basically given an outline of all the reasons why a good number of us, 20% of us, moved away. She's just given, she just laid out why. You had men who stayed home, they sat on the couch. You had men who voted third party, and you had men who voted for the orange man. And what she doesn't acknowledge, we'll see this later on. But anyway, and some of the men protested. Their votes were a protest because they got tired of this party playing around with us. It was a protest. It wasn't because they liked Trump or anything like that. It was a protest. It had nothing to do with this lady. It was bigger than Kamala. It was a protest against this
of data,
Democratic
Terrence,
Party.
not in your skills, but in data, just looking at it on paper. If we don't miss all of the nuances, all of the times where the party we were told had our best interest really didn't, or at least we didn't feel like it did. Our circumstances didn't remarkably change. Did she get penalized for all of the baggage of the party and not so much because this was a woman at the top of a ticket? I'm not saying nobody was saying that BS, but I got to tell you, there are a lot of folks who are close to me who held their nose and voted for the party, not because Kamala Harris was at the top of the ticket. That was longer.
I voted against the party. It had nothing to do with the woman. I voted against the party because I was tired of these games. That's why I voted against the party. Obama helped me vote against the party, especially when Obama came out and said what he said to black men in Philadelphia. That was it. I said, I'm voting, yeah, for real, for real, for real, for real, for real. Yeah, this is not about her. This is this party right here. And Obama, you seal the deal right here. You talk to us like we're children. Yeah, that's it. I'm voting against this party. I want this party to be punished. Yeah, I want the party to be punished. I want it to feel the heat of a loss, a landslide, destruction, chaos, calamity. And that's what happened.
Answer. I would love for you to address some of the things I was saying, because I want to be clear. I'm not representing a party. I'm not talking about Democratic politics. Like, the party to me is completely irrelevant to the point I was making. I'm talking about the dynamic between black men and black women and the infrastructure of the country, not necessarily Democrat, Republican. But I think both are super relevant.
Boy, she is perplexed, ain't she? She is perplexed. She is perplexed. She can't sleep at night. Tiffany Cross cannot sleep at night because of you black men. You black men on the internet is causing Tiffany Cross to lose sleep. She's losing sleep, guys. I recall Ice Cube. Thank you, Jamari, again. He says, I recall Ice Cube being on Fox with Vivica and others. He had a plan for black people, and the host asked, what special considerations do black women get? We all remember that. You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right, man. Thank you, man. Thank you for that ongoing support. Y'all get the likes up. Get the likes up. We got 132 people in here. I'm gonna shut this down shortly because I've been out here for a long time, man. I really appreciate you guys being here tonight. I really do. I really do. This is my first time doing a stream like this. Java Joe was in the house. So when you vote your interest, it's righteous, but when I vote mine, it's selfish. Yes, that's what they're saying. That's it. That's it. That's it. This is the nonsense that they spew towards us. Thank you, Java Joe, man. We appreciate that $5 support right there. We thank you. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate you, all your support. She is perplexed. Tiffany Cross. Look at Tiffany. 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 Tiffany says this is not just about the Democratic Party. This is about her love life. And this is about life, and this is about romance and all this kind of stuff. And this is about the relationship between black men and black women. The fact that a lot of black men and women just don't get along. We just don't get along. Shout out to Obsidian Media. Shout out to Obsidian Media. That was the basic thesis of him starting his podcast over a decade ago. That black men and women simply don't get along. And this is a reality that must be dealt with at every level. economic, political, familial, you name it, psychological, you name it. She is perplexed. Tiffany, baby. Tiffany. Tiffany, I would give you a hug, baby, but you know, it's just your personality. Your personality, that you make it hard for a brother to get it up.
So we'll be quiet and let you guys.
I can't get it up, man. I can't get it up with Tiffany. I'm sorry, guys. I can't get it up. That personality that she got, I can't get it up, guys. I can't. I need some Viagra. I'm gonna need some Viagra with Tiffany. I'm gonna need some Viagra. I'm gonna need some Chrysalis. I'm gonna need a whole bunch of stuff, man, to get it up with Tiffany, dog. I'm telling you, man. I'm gonna need a whole lot. You know what I mean? I'm gonna need some liquor too. I'm gonna need some alcohol. I'm gonna need some alcohol, man, with Tiffany. Yeah, I'm gonna need some alcohol. I'm gonna need me some. I'm gonna need some rum. I might, you know, need some tequila. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's gonna be some work with Tiffany. That's gonna be some work, man. That's gonna be some work. Ace the Straight Shooter, thank you for that, man. Thank you. Ace that says, what's your thoughts on the new topic of black men choosing trade, military over college? Good question, man. I broached some of that stuff the other night, man, when I did my stream on Torre, called Whose Mans Is That? Whose Mans Is This? Torre. Yeah, I think that black men need to do trades. I fully support the trades. I fully support the military, my brother. Man, we got Charles Faulkner is in the house. What's going on? Woo! Charles Faulkner is in the house. Woo! That's my man. That's my man right there. Yeah, man. Salty Balls, man. What's going on? Salty Balls. My man, Salty Balls. My man is in the house. I'm not lying, man. I'm gonna need some liquor, man. Yeah, me and Tiff. Yeah, I'll give her a chance, but I'm gonna need some liquor, man. I'm gonna need some good liquor. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm gonna need some shots. Yeah, because I can't do it sober. I'm not gonna be able to do it sober, Doc. With that personality, I can't do it sober. Yeah, I can't do it. Thank you, Salty Balls. We appreciate it, man. We appreciate you, man, doing your doggone thing. What's going on, guys? I've been out here for a long time, man. I've been out here, man. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, passport OG, man. Turn it. Go turn them lights off. Absolutely. Turn them lights off. Go turn them off. We're gonna turn them off. Let me wrap this up. We're gonna wrap this up and we're gonna check it out.
Take all of that me and Angela just threw at you, because I want to hear your response to both. Whoever want to take it.
I'll jump in to Angela's point. I think, and I wrote this down in response to some of what Tiffany was saying. I think that we have to own the failures of Black leadership. That the only way that Black people can make you pay for not delivering is to either vote for someone else or not to vote. And that there are people willing to make the party or the politician pay a consequence for not delivering for the things that they've said.
That's what I did, and that's what a lot of Black men did. And that is the strategy going forward. Make them pay, 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 make them pay. That's the strategy going forward. This is how you become politically independent and astute and sophisticated and all of that. You make these people pay. Okay? And if we have to deal with the craziness of the orange man, so be it. So be it. This is venture capitalism. You got to take a risk. Venture capitalism. These people brought this stuff on themselves.
One of my lawyers, okay, who has a Juris Doctorate from an HBCU, had hard up arguments with me about whether or not he would vote for Hillary Clinton.
Mhm.
Okay. Before, and it had nothing to do with her being a white woman. Okay. It had to do with the things he believed she helped orchestrate against us and whether or not the Democratic Party would deliver for Black people after Black folks had shown up the way that we did for Obama. Okay. There are Black men who are tired of every time saying, we'll wait till next time. There are people ready to abandon the ship, like say, burn it all down. We don't want to
We already there.
be a part of any of your party structure. I think that comes into play with some of the odds that we have, Tiff, within our structure with each other, that some of the men in our community have just made a decision. I'm opting out of all of that because they're not listening to us. They're not working with us to the things that they said. I also think that we never.
Now, this is the uncompromised part. See, he's thinking clearly now. All that simping and pandering is out the door right now. It's gonna come back, but here it is. Let's get it again.
A response to both. Whoever want to take it.
I'll jump in to Angela's point. I think, and I wrote this down in response to some of what Tiffany was saying. I think that we have to own the failures of Black leadership. That the only way that Black people can make you pay for not delivering is to either vote for someone else or not to vote. And that there are people willing to make the party or the politician pay a consequence for not delivering for the things that they've said. One of my lawyers, okay, who has a Juris Doctorate from the HBCU, had hard up arguments with me about whether or not he would vote for Hillary Clinton.
Mhm.
Okay. Before, and it had nothing to do with her being a white woman. Okay. It had to do with the things he believed she helped orchestrate against us and whether or not the Democratic Party would deliver for Black people after Black folks had shown up the way that we did for Obama. Okay. There are Black men who are tired of every time saying, we'll wait till next time. There are people ready to abandon the ship, like say, burn it all down. We don't want to be a part of any of your party structure. I think that comes into play with some of the odds that we have, Tiff, within our structure with each other, that some of the men in our community have just made a decision. I'm opting out of all of that because they're not listening to us. They're not working with us to the things that they said. I also think that we never talk about the elephant in the room that Vice President Harris was married to a white man. That was a huge conversation for a lot of Black men. Okay. Barack Obama was all that he was, but Barack was married to Michelle from the South Side of Chicago. And when things got twisted and rocky with the Black community, Michelle Obama came into the Black community and had conversations with Black women and Black people to settle the storm and bring Black people along with Barack Obama. Vice President Harris had Doug, and he's a great guy for her, and it's a great partner. And we don't get to choose her partner for her. She has a right to marry who she wants to. But we have a right to have a perspective about who that partner is and what conversations are had about Black people when you are laying on the pillow at night about these conversations. Most people feel like Michelle Obama was checking Barack about whether or not he was doing certain things for Black folk. Now, whether or not we feel like that, we know if that's true or not, we don't know, but most Black folk felt that. You don't get to feel that with Vice President Harris. We also did not hear Black women criticize that piece of the conversation the way that we know Black men would have been criticized if we had a white wife.
What did he say? Let's go back here. He's talking about Kamala Harris and Doug Emhoff, her white husband. Yeah. What is it that Black women did not talk about? What did he say here? Let's go back here.
Because they're not listening to us. They're not working with us to the things that they said. I also think that we never talk about the elephant in the room that Vice President Harris was married to a white man. That was a huge conversation for a lot of Black men. Okay. Barack Obama was all that he was, but Barack was married to Michelle from the South Side of Chicago. And when things got twisted and rocky with the Black community, Michelle Obama came into the Black community and had conversations with Black women and Black people to settle the storm and bring Black people along with Barack Obama. Vice President Harris had Doug, And he's a great guy for her, and it's a great partner. And we don't get to choose her partner for her. She has a right to marry who she wants to. But we have a right to have a perspective about who that partner is and what conversations are had about Black people when you are laying on the pillow at night about these conversations. Most people feel like Michelle Obama was checking Barack about whether or not he was doing certain things for Black folk. Now, whether or not we feel like that, we know if that's true or not, we don't know. But most Black folk felt that. You don't get to feel that with Vice President Harris. We also did not hear Black women criticize that piece of the conversation the way that we know Black men would have been criticized if we had a white wife. Now, as somebody who believes
because they worship that white man, that's that fantasy, and that's that fantasy to have you a white husband. You're talking about the Democratic Party. You're talking about the Rainbow Party. You talk about the party where swirling is off the charts. They love that. They love that. Yeah, she got her a white man. She got her a white man. See, these people, you can't talk to these people. You cannot talk to these people. You can't talk to them. And he wants to be heard. He wants to be heard. Now, these guys were not talking like that before the election. You know, they were not talking. He's a Democrat. They're Democrat. All these people are Democrats. They were not talking like this before the election. But now you got all this freedom. Now, here's the thing. You can talk about it now because she lost. You talk about it now because she lost right here. And yes, these women are hypocritical. They're hypocritical. And they're intolerant. They're intellectually inflexible. They're not going to do it. Why? Why? They can't. They run away from hard questions, hard issues, and what have you. It's a stunted political party. It is. And she was allowed. This woman was allowed to cosplay. You still talking about Kamala Harris like she's a Black American woman. Y'all still talking like that. By the way, Jasmine Crockett, she was making fun of. She was talking about the wife of Byron Donalds. She was just, she's been viral. She's gone viral talking about Byron Donalds and Byron Donalds' white wife, saying that Byron Donalds is whitewashed and everything. You understand? But Ketanji Brown Jackson, she not whitewashed. You got all this. You see, this stuff is just. It's a big bag of confusion. That's all it is. It's just a big old bag of confusion. Salty Balls, man. Salty Balls, thanks for that $49.90. He says she the type you got to leave so she can argue with 4 walls. Yep. Yeah. You got to do it. Let her argue with the walls. Let her argue with the floor. Let her argue with herself. Doggone it. We appreciate you guys for this, man. We appreciate you guys. Yeah. But he's saying things now that they have room to say, I mean, what he's saying is not wrong. Yeah, Michelle Obama, did she pull Obama's coattails? I'm sure she had something to do with some of his moves. I mean, we know that he's kind of, well, she, at least in her imagination, or at least in the public imagination, she's made the world look at Obama as though he's the cook. I tell you that much, Anyway.
The Black family unit, that if you gotta, the only way to do this and be about this all the way for me personally, is to be with a Black woman. There's a lot of Black people who share that belief and cannot see outside of that. And we have to have the conversations within our community and talk to them about the policies that make these things worth sacrificing some of the things that we don't want to put on our shelf. The last thing I'll say, to the point about the conflicts that exist between us as Black men and Black women. There are some toxic brothers in our community. There are some hateful brothers in our community that do awful things to Black women. We should call those things out. We held a mass gathering, Jamal Bryant, West Bellany, myself, in Atlanta. We gathered hundreds of brothers to talk about the election, the path forward. There was shared some perspectives, some of those perspectives about the vice president and other things. When those were called out, we directly addressed those, but we gave brothers the space to vent in a safe space where they could get it off their chest, even if it's not true, even if it's sexist, even if it's hateful. But other brothers could say to you, you know that's a lie, right? You know that's jacked up, right? And to say that in the council of other men, where other men can and all of the things that we do, that let another brother know, like, look, you're a little sideways right now. Sisters, y'all can't do that, but we do that so much on the internet that it demeans our relationship more than it builds our relationship. And I think that we don't own that there are some hateful sisters out there, right? That there are some sisters who do not like Black men, who will speak venomously against any Black male leadership. And that is counterproductive as well. Now, both of us have been hurt by each other. The question is, who is better to get us to the other side? Is it anybody else other than us? And the answer is no. It's always going to be sisters and brothers together. And we got to figure that out. Black men and Black women. There are some toxic brothers in our community. There are some hateful brothers in our community that do awful things to Black women. We should call those things out. We held a mass gathering, Jamal Bryant, West Bellany.
Well, they've been called out. Here's the thing, guys. You know, they've been talking about us and calling us criminals for decades now. Decades. How much additional criminality that we need? We need more criminalization, and we need criminalization from other Black men. That's what we need. We need more criminalization. I mean, we've got prisons, we've got jails, we've got detention centers, you got criminal courts, you've got prosecutors, you got judges, you got all these things. These people talk about accountability as though Black men are not held accountable. This is the problem. This is why this stuff is so juvenile and it's so primitive. I don't want to have no conversation about no Black male accountability. I don't want to hear no feminists. I don't want to talk to no feminists about no Black male accountability. I don't want to talk to no womanists. I don't want to talk to no gay man about some Black male accountability. You got the penitentiary. The penitentiary is accountability for Black men. The penitentiary, it already exists. The criminal court systems, life sentences, death row, doggone it. You've got it. This nonsense, this is tired juvenile stuff about accountability. I'm not talking to no Jamal Harrison Bryant about no accountability. This is the problem right here. This is the problem right here. And he's the last person. He is the last person to preach accountability to anybody. The last one. The last one. A man who is alleged to be a pedo. He's alleged to be a pedo. This man is alleged to be a pedo, an open pedo. Got children all over the place outside of marriage and everything like that. Can't keep his ding-a-ling in his pants. No ding-a-ling discipline. And I'm supposed to sit up and talk to him about some accountability? Get out of here. And talk to him, and that becomes the end and beginning of politics. And for these people, and the only reason why they're having this conversation with Jamal Harrison Bryant and these other people in Atlanta or in other places is because they're trying to sell this woman to Black men. Salty Balls says, embrace the villainy. They blame us for everything else. Let them all feel. That's right. Feel the pain. No, that's right. No eminism. That's it. Let them feel the pain. No abortions, no alphabet, nothing. BM got politics on the chokehold. They've awakened a sleeping giant. Yes, you're right. Salty Balls, they have awakened a giant. They don't know what is coming down the pike. They don't understand what is coming. They don't understand it.
Myself in Atlanta, We gathered hundreds of brothers to talk about the election, the path forward. There were some brothers who shared some perspectives that we did not agree with. Some of those perspectives about the vice president and other things. When those were called out, we directly addressed those. But we gave brothers the space to vent in a safe space where they could get it off their chest, even if it's not true, even if it's sexist, even if it's hateful. But other brothers could say to you, now you know that's a lie, right? You know that's jacked up, right? And to say that in the council of other men, where other men can and all of the things that we do, and let another brother know, like, look, you're a little sideways right now. Sisters, y'all can't do that, but we do that so much on the internet that it demeans our relationship more than it builds our relationship. And I think that we don't own that there are some hateful sisters out there, right? That there are some sisters who do not like black.
Where's the amen? Where's the amen right here? He said hateful. It's a Democrat. Hateful. He knows it. He's a Democratic. This guy is a Democratic operative. These people are a part of the Democratic Party. They are not just out there. They are a part of the Democratic Party. They are empowered by the Democratic Party.
Black men who will speak venomously against any black male leadership. And that is counterproductive as well. Now, both of us have been hurt by each other. The question is, when those were called out, we directly address those.
He's actually describing, when he talks about women, black women who hate black men, he is actually talking about the entire Democratic Party. Y'all pay attention to this.
But we gave brothers the space to vent in a safe space where they could get it off their chest, even if it's not true, even if it's sexist, even if it's hateful. But other brothers could say to you, now you know that's a lie, right? You know that's jacked up, right? And to say that in the council of other men, where other men can and all of the things that we do, that let another brother know, like, look, you're a little sideways right now. Sisters, y'all can't do that, but we do that so much on the internet that it demeans our relationship more than it builds our relationship. And I think that we don't own that there are some hateful sisters out there, right? That there are some sisters who do not like black men, who will speak venomously against any black male leadership. And that is counterproductive as well. Now, both of us have been hurt by each other. The question is, who is better to get us to the other side? Is it anybody else other than us? And the answer is no. It's always going to be sisters and brothers together, and we got to figure that out.
You can't just make that assumption. What do you mean the other side? The other side. You see, that's that. This is the Umar Johnson stuff right here, man. This is the problem, man. This is the Umar Johnson stuff right here, man. This is the pro-black stuff that goes unscrutinized and everything right here. And what he says minimizes the gravity of the polarization between the genders, between black men and black women. It minimizes it, you see. And just keep hope alive. That's the thing. This is what it is. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. You're gonna look at Tiffany Cross. Y'all gonna keep hope alive with her? Y'all look at Tiffany Cross. Are you gonna keep hope alive with Tiffany Cross? Look at her, man. Look at Tiffany Cross. Keep 100. Thank you for that contribution. He says that progressivism ends when a black man has a non-black woman. All other romantic pairings are acceptable. That's right. That's right. Are y'all gonna keep hope alive with Tiffany Cross? This brother just said we need to keep hope alive and work together, and we need to, continue, and what I mean, walk the road that Dorothy walked, to the land of Oz. We're gonna go to the land of Oz together. Look at Tiffany Cross. You want to go to the promised land? Do you want to go to the promised land with Tiffany Cross? Do y'all want to go to the promised land with Tiffany Cross? What's going on, Abuki? Good to see you, my brother. Abuki says, I love to see their frustration and not being able to force us to mind. That's right. Men do not comply, period, with them. Either black women are us or not. They are with us or not. And they clearly are not. Yes, they are. They clearly are not. Thank you, Abuki Kamal. We got 129 people up in the house. Man, I've been going this thing almost 3 hours, man. 3 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours talking about these people right here, man. I appreciate you guys being here on a Friday night. I think what's going to happen, I'm going to, I thought about, having time to open this thing up for some guys to chime in and what have you. I mean, this is a good opportunity to do this, but I don't want to, have you guys out here for a long time. I respect your time, guys. I really do respect your time. Abuki Kamal, thank you, my brother. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. Yes, sir. BMI all day long. BMI all day long. BMI all day long. Yeah, man. He's simping. You guys be simping hard, man. These guys be simping, man. That thing is nauseating. It is nauseating to see all that simping. Nauseating, guys. Nauseating. You're right. Nobody. Why would anyone listen to this brother, man? You know what I'm saying? He's the last person, man. He is the last person to listen to. The last person to listen to, man. Yeah. Let's wrap this thing up. We gotta wrap this thing up, brothers.
Love that, Gary. Terrence, what do you say?
He got a slide about it.
I
Let's
know.
throw that slide back
Yeah.
up. This is church.
Y'all,
Like
listen.
this need to be like a full day sermon. It's so good. Y'all are great.
Listen, y'all, we in the family conversation now. For any listeners that's not in the family or have not been invited to the cookout, you should have tuned out by now. Because we are deep. We are deep in the family conversation now. I want to say a couple of things in response here. Number one, and I have to make this point every time I talk about these gaps, the gender and generation gaps in the Black community. Voters are the consumers, right? Yeah. Candidates that are running for office are the product. You don't blame the consumer when they stop buying your product. You make a better product, right? We need to present candidates and policies that better appeal to the consumer and not blame the consumer for not buying. That's the first thing. We have to, when I hear both of us have hurt each other, we have never hurt each other more than racism and a patriarchal society have hurt us. And so this is what unifies us, is a shared pain and a shared struggle. When I look at some of these slides, because this is why HIT Strategies, the polling firm that I started here, we have to engage these conversations with this compassionate curiosity. Because when you start with judging how our voters feel, then it's too hard for us to get to the solution. And there's a couple things that are on this slide that I want to point to. One is the pain that brothers are feeling, right? When you said things haven't gotten better, it was a young man in the focus group, Angela, that said something very similar to you when he said, my hood ain't getting no better under Obama. It ain't getting no worse under Trump. So what Biden and Harris got to do with me? Well, in fact, for some brothers, their hood got better under Trump, or at least that's what they believe. On this first graph on this slide, when we asked this question, was your life better under President Biden or better under President Trump? The overwhelming majority of Black voters, 71%, said their lives were better under President Biden. But 29% of Black people told us months before Election Day that their lives were better when Donald Trump was president. 29% of Black people said that, including 41% of brothers. 41% of young Black men said that their lives were better when Donald Trump was president. And so we need to acknowledge that pain. And Donald Trump is giving these brothers and these, not just brothers, but voters who are cynical towards a system that have failed them, he's giving them a reason for that pain. In the second two numbers that you'll see on this graph, 59% of Black voters agree that the gains of the LGBTQ community have come at the expense of the Black community. The second number here, 64% of Black voters believe that the gains of the Latino community have come at the expense of the Black community. What do I see when I see these two numbers?
So you see what he's doing right now. You see, this is what they failed to do in 2024 when they put that horrible candidate out there. This is what they failed to do. Hell, this is what they failed to do when they had Joe Biden before Joe Biden dropped out. This is what they failed to do. Actually talk to people. Actually talk to Black people to find out what they think. To find out what they think. But now they have to go back. Now they have to see where they went wrong. Now they have to come to terms with the fact that they failed miserably and that they have to create an entirely new product, which I doubt that they will. That they just don't have it. These people are so self-absorbed. They are so self-assured. They are so arrogant. They are so caught up in their own sense of intellectual and moral superiority that I don't think that they can course correct. I don't think it's going to happen. It's not going to happen. They're going to double down on their nonsense. But look at this. LGBTs, the Black people saying that the LGBTs have surpassed us. They're a higher priority. The Latinos are a higher priority. The immigrants, everybody else has a higher priority than Black people.
I see the trans ad.
Yeah.
Right? That trans ad that said that she's for them and they and I'm for you. But the rest of that ad also said, and they're using your tax dollars to pay for trans surgery. Listen, that's not an anti-LGBTQ sentiment for Black people to believe that other communities are getting more because we're getting less. That's just pro-Black. That's just us saying we're not getting what we need. And Donald Trump is offering a reason for that pain, and that reason is because the trans folks are getting more than you, and the immigrants are getting more than you. When I see that Black folks believe that the advances of the Latino community have come at the expense of the Black community, what do I see there? Immigrants are taking Black jobs.
How do you account for the intersectionality, though, Terrence? Because to say that the LGBTQ is making gains against Black folks does not account for the overlay. In the Venn diagram, there are, in fact, Black members of the LGBTQ community. Same with...
But the LGBTQ politics is mainly driven by white people. LGBTQ politics is about sexuality. It's about homophobia, okay? And whatever, transphobia, that kind of stuff. What does that have to do with the material conditions of Black people? Yes, you got some Black gays, you got some Black lesbians, you got some Black trans. But when you focus exclusively on the sexuality issues, you sacrifice larger material concerns. That's what you do. That's what you do. So, Tiffany, your intersectionality is childish, it's elementary, it's juvenile, it's got you mixed up. Kimberly Crenshaw has messed up an entire generation of women. She has completely messed them up educationally.
The Latino community. There are Afro-Latinos who exist in this country. So I don't know, how was there a question that spoke to that?
That is quite nuanced.
But how is that so nuanced? Because I mean, there are everybody knows some gay people in their family, you know, like how is it too nuanced?
But I think when you're talking to regular people, that when you start whittling down all of those different things, they don't hear that. They don't hear all of those different subsections. They hear like what Terrence just said. They hear the ad as it was.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go even further because this was research that we did with Dr. David Johnson, National Black Justice Coalition, and he made sure that we explored that intersectionality. And in fact, we asked the question, do Black queer people identify more with their Blackness or their queerness? And we believe that Black queer people identify more with their queer identity than their Black identity.
Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? Did you guys? I need to back that up. We got to back this thing up. Let me back this.
So we're not even when we're advances of the Latino community have come at the expense of the Black community, what do I see there? Black immigrants are taking Black jobs.
How do you account for the intersectionality though, Terrence? Because to say that the LGBTQ is making gains against Black folks does not account for the overlay. In the Venn diagram, there are in fact Black members of the LGBTQ community. Same with
they surpassed us. The LGBTQ surpassed us. Get over it. In terms of them being a priority. That's it. Okay? Bread and butter issues matter. Food matters. Having a roof over your head matters. A job matters. Taxes matters. Material conditions, they matter. They can't see this. This is how this stuff has messed them up.
The Latino community. There are Afro Latinos who exist in this country. So I don't know. How was there a question that spoke to that? It's too nuanced. Say more. Nuanced. But how is that so nuanced? Because I mean
that nuance is messed up. Forget it. Trash it. Throw that word nuance out. Throw it out. This is the problem right here. This is all this postmodern gobbledygook. This is postmodern gobbledygook that she got from college and she got in these Black female subcultures, and this is what destroys. This is why Black people have no politics, because of this gobbledygook that she talked about.
There are everybody knows some gay people in their family, like how is it too nuanced?
But I think when you're talking to regular people, that when you start whittling down all of those different things, they don't hear that. They don't hear all of those different subsections. They hear like what Terrence just said. They hear the ad as it was.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go even further because this was research that we did with Dr. David Johnson.
Here it goes. I want y'all to listen to this. What he says about these gay Blacks. Are the gay Blacks Black first, or are they gay first? Are they Black third? Are they Black fourth? The gay Blacks, the bisexuals, the lesbians, where are they on the spectrum of being Black? And he gonna tell us that Blackness is low on the totem pole.
National Black Justice Coalition, and he made sure that we explored that intersectionality. And in fact, we asked the question, do Black queer people identify more with their Blackness or their queerness? And we believe that Black queer people identify more with their queer identity than their Black identity. And so even when we're exposed to that intersectionality, we reject it.
Yeah.
And so this is some of the messaging and work that we have to do when we talk about immigration policy. We're not talking about Black immigrants. That's the messaging that we have to do, to talk about the fact that immigration is not a Latino issue.
Can I ask you, Terrence, really quick on this? The first thing that comes to mind looking at this slide is, did they feel this life was better? Did they read this? Did they see a video of it somewhere? Like, did you ask the question about, like, when you say that your life was better, give me an example of how?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right, Angela. Yeah, we did. So this is a poll question that we asked back in August, but after that we started doing focus groups where I moderate these focus groups.
I know.
And so I am probing. These are hard probes. No. Give me a list. What exactly was better in your life? Don't just brush over it and say it just, business was better. It just felt like, tell me what was better for you. And what we discovered is overwhelmingly when people say that things were better under Trump, what they meant was things were cheaper under Trump.
What's up, guys? David Moss Jr. here. And in today's video, I'm trying the viral pod company Cold Plunge. Now, we've got the original.
That's often what they were saying. That's oftentimes what they were saying.
And we were in a pandemic.
That's exactly right.
Wow.
I know I'm not a panelist, and I love having you brothers. No. Can I say this? It's the reason why I would love to relax my voice so that we can hear more of yours. But I do have just a point to make around, some of this, which is it's easy when you can very, very quickly obfuscate from what might be your blame when somebody else shows you another place for it to go. And I don't know if that's exclusive to gender or not. I think as people, we do that. So some of this makes, that kind of sense. It also, when you consider Trump's time in office, you know, the pressure valve got taken off of a lot of us, right? We didn't have to show up at 8 o'clock every day into an office wearing clothes we don't normally feel comfortable in. We weren't being offered not one, but two stimuluses that showed up in different ways. There wasn't rent relief, and relief also being offered from home owners. The kind of tax incentives that showed up during the pandemic, which I would argue should be here all the time, around children's tax credits. I mean, you felt more money in your pocket because you had more money in your pocket, quite frankly, for a lot of people. And so there's just something very clear, practical, touchable about that. And then Democrats come along saying, don't believe your lying eyes, don't believe your lying experience. It was really worse. And the truth is that, you know, going layers beneath is not going to be helpful.
And it's the psyops. This is the psyops. These people play a psyops. Everybody felt inflation. Everybody felt prices. Everybody felt what was going on with the supply chain. Everybody felt it. People were losing their jobs before Trump hit the office. The economy was messing up before Trump hit office. You understand? And these people had the nerve, these Democrats, these corporate Democrats, these corporate oligarchs on the Democratic Party, tried to manipulate our minds to make us believe that what was actually happening on the ground was not happening on the ground.
Here, when the simple answer actually meets my need. So I don't have to go through layers of explanation. Those of us who understand policy will say, over the long term, I'm willing to bet you. Your grandmama told you this a long time ago, you get nothing for free. The systems they destroyed over the long term will cause irreparable harm to our communities. There's no doubt about it. But you can't convince me to care about tomorrow when I'm just trying to survive today. And so those arguments fell largely on deaf ears. And then there's the argument that just never showed up. And that was to this issue of trans. I think the Black community could have been just as open to an argument that said, if you dropped your kid off at daycare as a boy and you picked him up as a girl, turn around the car, take that kid back because you picked up the wrong one. And then remind us that, you know what? They would like you to believe that fewer than 0.003% of this population is the reason why the groceries cost what they cost, the housing costs what it costs, that we can't get access to the things that we ought to have access to is because of a little boy or a little girl who's deciding whether or not they're in the right body. But
he is so disingenuous. He is so disingenuous. You know, Joe Biden had Trans Inclusive Day on Easter. Joe Biden, the White House, Trans Inclusive Day was on Easter. Trans Affirmation Day was on Easter. Okay, his Surgeon General was a trans. He had a high-ranking military official who was trans. He had trans people in his administration, which they paraded around from the very beginning. Stop acting like this trans issue. It wasn't just about sports. It wasn't just about mutilation, doggone it. No, they rode that trans issue. They were pushing it hard, pushing it from the White House all the way down. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. So they destroyed themselves. The Democratic Party destroyed themselves with an issue that the vast majority of Americans simply don't care about. That's just the reality. The vast majority of Americans don't care about it. And this is the thing. This is a hard pill for these people to swallow.
But if we interrogate that, y'all, that ain't my issue. I didn't wake up with it with the first thing on my mind, and it wasn't the last thing on my mind before I went to bed. But there was a complete absence, a complete reluctance, a complete inability to just meet them, the other side of that argument, and say, you know what, that's some bullshit. Let's get to what's real. No, we're not going to legislate hate by targeting legislation in a state that affects 3 people out of a state of 19 million. That's not who we are. They ain't where we going.
But that's what y'all did. That's what y'all did. That's what the Democratic Party did. You trying to push it across the whole entire country. The whole country. Even in Iowa, conservative South Dakota, and parts of the United States that barely register when it comes down to mainstream political discourse. Okay? The America is not solely consisted of the state of California and New York City and Miami and Atlanta, okay? You can't take Miami, you can't take New York City, and you can't take the state of California and turn it into representative when it comes down to this issue. So you all destroyed yourself for that, okay? And he doesn't want to admit it. He does not want to acknowledge that fact, and it helped to destroy the Democratic Party.
So the shrinking, I would say, from the fight, it's hard to lose a match when you're showing up on every round. But if you choose to step out, you're going to lay out, you're going to lay down, you're going to back up and think that we're going to do the hard work to make the other argument, well, think again. You send people to, listen, with Donald Trump, he's lying constantly. If he's talking, he's lying. But the answer isn't to then go mute on the other side and say, oh, well, you need to point it out. You need to name it, claim it, so I know how to name it and claim it when I see it.
Yeah, listen, there's a couple of really important points you made there, Andrew. And the first is that when people are in pain, they need someone to blame. Right?
Yeah.
When someone is working twice as hard to get half as far,
For sure.
when someone is following all the rules and doing everything that they were supposed to do, and especially millennials, right, who graduated in a recession, who are burdened by student loan debt, who ain't never bought their first house, never started a family, never done the things that generations before us were able to do. Well, we need someone to explain this pain. And Donald Trump came forth with a reason for their pain, being all them other DEI and other people and trans people and immigrants. And in response, Democrats said, we have a policy agenda for you, right? To a bunch of voters that ain't never believed.
Masculinity has ruled for a long enough time, yeah,
That's
you
right.
got some pain?
That's
Welcome
exactly
to my
right.
life.
That's right. And the policy, I've learned through this work that policy is not a narrative, because especially for voters that don't believe.
You're not going to stop masculinity. And that's another thing. You know, they're not going to stop masculinity. It is what it is. It ain't going nowhere. The Republican Party right now is demonstrating to you that they are not going to allow masculinity to die. They are not going to allow traditional masculinity to die. Okay? They're not going to do that. These white guys have already demonstrated right now, and they're going to do that in the future, that they are not going to participate in their own self-destruction by co-signing Democrats' toxic view of masculinity. And this idea that it's time for us to just throw men away, or just send men to the gallows, or put them in the corner somewhere, or put them in the basement. It ain't gonna happen. It is not going to happen. Y'all living up. They have a pie in the sky worldview. This is unrealistic. This is utopian nonsense.
Believe our promises, don't believe our policies. If you can't tell me why my life sucks, then why would I vote for you to unsuck my life?
This one analytics settings error cost a company
right. And Donald Trump is giving them a reason for their pain. And the alternative that I'm offering, that I think is the Democratic reason for the pain, is the other graph on that slide that showed that 73% of Americans believe that greedy corporations and billionaires are hoarding wealth, are rigging the rules to make themselves richer, right? And so the problem is that the person that makes $1,000 an hour has convinced the person that makes $20 an hour that their real problem is the person that makes $7 an hour, right? And so we just have to we can't ignore the problem statement. Why does their life suck? Why are they working so hard and not getting ahead? And I believe that problem is that the wealthy is not the least amongst us. The problem is that the wealthy are hoarding the wealth and making it and creating pain for everyone else.
Well, you talk about blame, Terrence, and sometimes it does feel like that Black men blame Black women for some of their pains, and this is not conjecture. This is not hyperbole.
And Black women complain, and they blame and complain about Black men. And they've been complaining longer than us. They can't stop complaining. All they do is complain. Even if you give her, half of what she wants, she's still going to complain. She's never satisfied. Just like the blues people said, she's never satisfied. She can't be satisfied. That's what Muddy Waters said. Muddy Water says she can't be satisfied. All y'all do is complain, 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 complain.
Like, we have personally experienced this.
I think y'all hear it the most because you're the closest thing to us.
Yes. So let's say we're in the same home. I can see that. And yes, you all are our counterparts. Like, we are family, you know, we are linked in our pain, in our lineage, in our heritage, in our ancestry. It is a unique relationship that Black American men and women have with each other. But like, you take something like Angela and I, and
but y'all been corrupted by plantation feminism. Y'all have been corrupted by plantation feminism. And the rot runs deep. The rot runs deep. You understand? It runs deep. Deep.
our group of friends, like, if we go on vacation, the way that Black men respond, the gossip around who we may or may not be dating, the way that Black or who the kind of men they think that, you know, we should be dating. Somebody did a whole podcast on, who I've never met, don't know this person, but did a whole podcast on the kind of men that I date. And men have dropped comments, Black men in my comments, like, you know, the kind of men they anticipate that I date. Angela, you talked about being protective.
When you talk about us, we're going to talk about you. That's the bottom line. You talk about us, we're going to talk about you. You were on MSNBC and you threw Black men under the bus. On MSNBC, you said that we, what did you call us? You said that you Kevin Samuels, Tariq Nasheed, following Black men. Y'all need to get over here with us Black women. And you need to follow our leadership. You said that, Tiffany Cross. That wasn't the first time that you came at us. So if you talk about us, we're going to talk about you. You were on a $1 billion corporate network, and you said what you said about us. So it is only right and fitting when you put that stuff out there about us, that someone going to talk about you. And we're going to talk about every doggone thing. Every doggone thing. If you can't take the smoke, if you cannot deal with the heat, my dear, you need to exit the kitchen.
Of Black men. And I think you're protective of the Black men you're friends with, and you hold the line. Those same Black men who you don't know, who you're not friends with, who you might protect in any other circumstance, will flood your feed with comments about you being a Democratic shill, or about, you know, well, that's why Byron Donald said whatever do you on the Breakfast Club, you know?
But you are a Democratic shill. You are. Stop pretending like you're not a Democratic shill. You shilling right now. All three of you are on this thing shilling for the Democratic Party. Stop. Stop. Just be honest. Be honest about it.
I don't know. It just feels like, damn, why am I taking your daggers, brother? I love you.
Daggers, you throwing daggers at us. Stop throwing daggers at us. Stop it. This is a new world. This is a brave new world. Welcome to a brave new world, Ms. Cross. Welcome. Welcome to Black men's independence. Welcome to Black men's agency. Welcome to Black men's empowerment. Welcome to Black men's happiness. Welcome to the Black man's world. Welcome.
Guess what? When I fight, I'm fighting for
Get them likes up, brothers. Get them likes up. Get them likes up. Get them likes up.
me and you. I'm not fighting you. And even this idea.
You're not fighting for us. Stop it. You're not. You're not fighting for us.
That Vice President Harris married a white man. The conversation is, how dare she leave us? Not how dare we let her get away? I happen to know a little bit about her dating life, and I know that she dated plenty of Black men. And she was not always treated well by those Black men. Some names you know, some names you don't.
See, that's what we're talking about, throwing us under the bus. You see, this is it. This is it. This is it. Oh, she was so wonderful. Kamala Harris was such a queen, so beautiful. Oh, she was with Willie Brown. Oh, she was with Montel. She was with Montel. Oh my God. They dropped the ball with her, didn't they? They just completely dropped the ball with her. We were not good enough for her. We were not good enough for her. You see, this is the problem. You just can't look in the mirror, and you refuse to look in the mirror. Where is your black man, Tiffany Cross? Where is he? Where is he? Where is your black man? Where is he? Where is he? Thank you, ghetto user. Thank you for that. I hate when men sit on panels and never push back on how the black women always are blasting us on major media. Yes, they just sitting there and taking it like a man. Those guys just sitting up there taking it just like a man. They bent over, they all cucked out, taking it like a man. And she's sitting up here glorifying a woman who's married to a white man, who it is reported that this white man cheated on his wife. He cheated on his first wife with the maid, got the woman pregnant. Okay, the woman had to get rid of the baby and all that kind of stuff. And then there's the other incidents where it is said that he was in France and he literally physically, put his hands on a woman who he had an altercation with. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get here. So she leveled up. That is, that Kamala leveled up. And we lost something. We lost something. We lost a woman who wound up marrying a man who already had grown children, already been married, who done put hands on a woman and who got his maid knocked up. Are you serious? Get the devil out of here. These people are a trip.
And so she found love where she found it. But again, it's how dare, and I just want to say, we have some of the highest endogamy rates in our community. We don't typically marry outside each other. But when that happens, we're punished for finding love. We are punished for wanting love. And in the podcast bro space, these very toxic conversations with people who,
and y'all punish us. You see a black man with a white woman, you go crazy. Y'all still go crazy. Y'all go crazy. Black men have greater options outside the group. Black men practice exogamy. It's called exogamy. It's when you marry out the group or you date out the group. And I'm not just talking about white women. I'm talking about African women, Caribbean women, Latina women, all sorts of women. You understand what I'm saying? And y'all got something to say about all of that. Something to say.
who have no idea what they're talking about, going back and forth, drawing up these crazy scenarios, and it's a bunch of insults to each other. That same toxic energy penetrated our politics the past 2 election cycles. And I don't know what to do about it. What I love that you say, Gary, is who else is going to solve this other than us?
There's nothing that you can do about it because it's here to stay. There is absolutely nothing that you can do about it. You cannot correct it. You cannot fix it. You had the opportunity back in the 1980s and the 1990s to fix it. Your mothers did. Your mothers could have fixed this in the 1980s. Y'all could have fixed this. Y'all could have went in a different direction. Your generation, Tiffany, you were in your 40s. You were in your 40s, okay? Your cohort of women signed on to plantation feminism, okay? Y'all signed on to it. And now plantation feminism is being challenged at all quarters. It is being defunded. It is being defunded. It is being defunded. Let me say this right now. It's being defunded. Y'all had opportunity to change direction, but you all chose not to.
I want to solve it. I don't know how.
I want to, you troubled my soul a little bit for 2 seconds.
Here come all the simping. Here's the simping right here. This is just the simp. Now this is, I'm gonna let this play out, and then we're gonna wrap up, man. But this, this is the problem. This is your typical Democrat black male right here. This is your typical Democrat black male. You understand? This is your typical Democrat black male. Panda bear, super simp. Super simp. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Super simp, doggone it. Now he gonna talk about black love. He's finna get his Umar Johnson on. This brother is about to get his Umar Johnson on. Y'all listen what he about to do.
And I think that, and I want to say specifically, when Black men, if we are in a conversation where we talk about all these young Black men who are marrying these white girls on college campuses, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are never Black men in my circle that come out and justify them making those choices, right? Because then that would be us saying that it's okay to leave Black women.
It is okay. It is okay. We can do whatever the devil that we want. And he can justify whoever he wants to be with. Okay? He can make a value judgment. He can say, I'd rather have her than her. I'd rather have this woman than this Black American woman who is the way she is, who is inundated with plantation feminism. I don't want her plantation feminism, so I'm going to go somewhere else. And I'm going to stand on it.
I think for me, there's not an option, and I've never dated outside of my race in a serious way. So
here come the simping now. Pay attention to the simping. Here we go. Here come Dr. Umar calling and paging Dr. Umar. Dr. Umar.
There's not an option that I would consider outside of Black women, for me personally, right? So when some of us hear that rebuttal, that why did we let her get away, it would never be an option, anything else for me, ever.
You know, what I personally love about chef's work is that they're incredible.
I think that there are those of us who have that level of commitment.
It's not for you, brother. It just ain't for you. That's it. It just ain't for you.
To each other. And that is what we are expecting in return, right? Because the example that Black men gave Black women to choose in Barack Obama was a full Black package. And I think that there are some folks who want the same thing. Now, this is a conversation that's awkward, especially as somebody who's run for office that wants to get white folks to support me again, is having in a public space. But we need to have these conversations because they impact our body politic.
You can have that conversation by yourself. Over here, we do Black male independence. We're not arguing. We're not explaining. We're not doing any of that type of stuff. We are moving on. We choose what we choose. We have our options. We have our passports. We have our ideology called Save Yourself Black Men, SYSBM, SYSBM. Thank you, Only John. Thank you, Only One John, for that super chat. He says it's really going to penetrate your politics. That's right. These people are a trip. Boy, I tell you, these people are a trip. They are a trip. They are a trip. They are a trip. They are a trip. Okay, we're getting close to the end.
They really do intensely. I also think we got to get back to really loving each other and celebrating each other.
Yes.
We've built so many ways that we have segregated ourselves against each other as Black folks. And I think what Terrence's data says is that we want to know that you're Black first. Before you are a woman, before you're a man, before you're gay, before you're trans, before you're anything else, are you focused on your Blackness and the conditions of Black people in this community?
Now they want to be Black. Now they want to be Black. You know, she was just talking about intersectionality, but now we got to be Black. Now we got to be Black. Y'all wasn't Black during Biden. Y'all were not Black under Joe Biden. Y'all were not Black with Kamala. You had a muted kind of, I don't know what kind of Blackness that was under Kamala, which I was pushing, trying to get everybody to vote for her and everything like that. But now they want to be Black. And here's the thing, Trump is making everybody Black. Right now, Donald Trump is making everybody Black. He has introduced the whole world to the Black experience, And he has reintroduced these Negroes to Blackness once again.
and in this country, and how do we make the material conditions of Black people better? And once you qualify yourself as Black Latinx or Black trans or Black this, you have now segregated yourself into something that allows you to get a classification that we don't collectively have.
That's fair.
And our community has not checked off these boxes yet. So I don't really have time to hear about your box because the collective box has not been addressed yet. And
I'm sorry, go ahead. Please finish your point.
I think that's one of the things that we got to really get back to. I'm Black first. Yeah. Before I'm a man, before I'm a Christian, before I'm anything else, I am Black. Before my mother and father knew that I would be a boy, they knew I was Black. Okay? Before any other decisions could be made, we start there. And if we start at that place as sisters, as brothers, I think we can get a whole lot of our conversations moving forward because we accept our gay brothers and cousins.
Gary, you hit on something.
But they don't want you to be Black. The Democratic Party, the oligarchs, the white oligarchs don't want you to be Black. Why you think Joe Biden had this why do you think Joe Biden had such an open doors policy to all the immigrants? He's talking about being Black. Joe Biden, over the course of his term, flooded the country with people who were not from this country, people who did not have paperwork, people who came in through the back door. Do you think that affirms Blackness? Do you think that's what that does? Huh? Is that what you call being Black or affirming Blackness? The very party that you belong to don't like your Blackness. You see, the very, very party. My God, Dr. Umar. This is Umar Johnson's cousin. What's going on, Revelator? Thank you for that. Revelator says, Black men didn't go to the Supreme Court to fight for interracial dating. Nope, we didn't do that. We did not do that at all.
And there around the Black first, it reminded me of a conversation my wife had with me around some frustration she was having at work. At the time, she worked for a very, very senior white female in the Democratic Party in Florida, office holder. And she was getting a lot of criticism because she couldn't, a number of her white female colleagues couldn't understand how she could be for Barack and the way that she was and not for Hillary in that primary. And she was like, are you, like, this is not a consideration. I'm a Black woman first. But I also, there is some subtext that isn't, I think we haven't expressed here that I think you got to when you said we just need to know. The criticism of Barack Obama largely early in was that, one, he was not raised in a traditional Black American experience. Growing up in Hawaii, spending time in California and then in NYU and so on and so forth, we couldn't trace ourselves. We couldn't trace ourselves through him. And therefore that created some suspicion about, all right, who is this dude? We heard some of that through Reverend Jackson, some others in some off mic moments.
Jesse Jackson was right. And we did not listen to Jesse Jackson. And when we raised the same suspicions about Kamala Harris, y'all said that we were sexist and we were misogynist and that we hate Black women. That's what y'all said. That's what y'all say. And Obama came out and told lies and said, when he was in Philadelphia talking to those Black men, oh, this woman, she grew up around you. This woman knows your experience. This woman is a part of you. Are you for real? Are you for real? And when we questioned her so-called Blackness, y'all wanted to take us and put us before the firing line.
Moments. Never really for everybody's consumption, but it was certainly our community understood it. And very similar to, I think, Kamala Harris, it was to the extent that I heard conversation about her partner, it was more about how you going to be at Howard for 4 years around the best of us and then still not choose us. And of course, this gets at nothing of what Tiffany's point is, which is, how many of y'all had a shot and then blew your shot and all the heartache, pain led her to an opening that did find and create love for her. But this knowing, this instinctive knowing who you're dealing with, this craving of people just want their politicians to be like them. They want to know that they're normal. Trump is appealing because he's saying the same shit and doing saying the stuff out loud that I'm saying with my group of friends and in the whatever. That kind of association isn't new. I think people have always craved that. I want to know that you put your pants on one leg at a time, just like me. And that when you run into struggle or hardship or this, that there are some default places that we know you're going first.
So your party needs to stop being fake. Y'all need to stop being fake and stop putting these fake people before the world. Because y'all fake. That's what it is. You just fake. Kamala Harris is fake. She is fake. She's a counterfeit bill. Fake. And everybody knows she's fake. If you look at all the commentary on YouTube and people talking about post-election stuff, and you look at her, people talking about particularly the conservatives, even the white people say she fake. Even the white conservatives say she fake and everything like that. Y'all fake. The whole party is fake. Y'all phony. Donald Trump with all of his whatever you want to say about Donald Trump, he put it out there. He put all the warts out there. You know who he is. You can't say the man ain't fake. He's crafty. He has the slicksterism of a salesman and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? But even with that, you understand, he came off more authentic. He's always been out there since 2016, more authentic than the vast majority of the people in your doggone party. And that's why he got the presidency. That's why he was able to convince working class people, okay, of all stripes to vote for him. You understand what I'm saying? And again, he's a deeply flawed man. A lot of questions there, but y'all fake. That's it. Y'all just some phony people. Your party is phony.
Before you choose other options. So, and I don't think anybody's strange in that. I think white voters do it. I think all voters want to know who you are and what you're made of. So when we heard all throughout the cycle, voters want to know, but who is Kamala? And I think a lot of us read that as it's because she's black. And I don't think it was that simplistic. I think black people wanted to know, who is she? Just like we wanted to know, who is he with Barack Obama, who had an experience that I can't even relate to as a black person having grown up in this country. And so that thirst is real. And if there were takeaways from it, is folks they want to be able to trace you. They want to track you and trace you so that they know for the decisions that have yet to come, that they instinctually feel that you've got some options that you're going to consider, even if you're not considering them out loud, before you make a decision. And I want to know that as a black person, that one, you're gonna have an experience in this country that will have some resonance with mine.
Yeah.
So that when you're confronted by the question, that you're gonna have some sensibilities and sensitivities that reflect my lived experience too, and not just theirs.
This conversation is so good. We're gonna close out the podcast here. This is gonna be a two-parter, so you guys be sure to tune in. We're going to split this podcast in two. So you guys be sure to tune in on Friday. We'll drop the second part of this conversation because it's so good.
What is normally our mini pod, it'll be a continuation of this conversation. We know that you will enjoy it, hopefully as thoroughly as we have enjoyed.
So there you have it. 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 There you have it, brothers. That's it. 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 Yeah, brothers. Yeah, man. I'm so glad that you guys were here tonight, man. I appreciate all the support. I would make some time to bring brothers up, but it's late. It's late. I've been broadcasting since 7 o'clock. It's almost 11 o'clock Eastern time, and it's the weekend. I didn't plan on being out here this long, but we got carried away, man. We had a good time. We had a good time tonight going through this and talking to these folks and everything. Y'all get the likes up. Y'all continue to support the program. I appreciate you guys, man. I'm going to smoke my cigar. I don't have my drink. I've been out here sober tonight. I'm trying to do it sober. I gotta make sure that my noggin is clear. You know what I'm saying? You know, not to say that I won't have my drink next time around, but that's it, man. I appreciate you guys, man. I appreciate you, man, for coming by and sharing the evening with all the brothers, man. And I look forward to, you know, our next time around. I am the Mad Professor. I am BMI 3000, and I will see you all. I will see you all real soon. So you guys have a good night. Enjoy the weekend that is upon us, man. And you all take care. Be good. And I'm up out of here, brothers. I will see you all next time around. Peace out.